Well, hello, everybody. Look at Ox and Greyheart showing. Oh, Jenny got kicked. Damn it. She'll be back. Hello, Greyheart and Ox and Marie and Rachel. How are you guys? Thank you so much for coming.
Hello,
We were just kind
everybody.
of sitting here bullshitting a little bit. Yay, she's back. We lost her.
I'm having audio problems.
Oh, audio. Can you hear me now?
Barely.
Aw.
It's
What's
not
up
you,
with
it's
that?
SteamYard. It's a piece of shit
Steam.
software again.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what else to do though because I can't get all
No,
the
you
features
can't do
I have
anything.
on.
Don't worry about it. I'll just keep
Yeah,
trying
I
and
just feel
do
bad.
what I gotta do.
Yeah. So, Jenny, since you popped in, what has been on your mind lately?
Today, I guess it would be that the entire universe of Twitter is going to be destroyed by Elon Musk.
And it's going to be glorious. I am here for it. Twitter's kind of a hellhole.
I'm not really worried about it, honestly. I don't think it's going to change a fucking thing.
Twitter's lots of
change that
things, but
much.
what you can't deny about it is that it's a very useful communications device for
It is
people that have nothing else.
Yeah,
I know.
And it has been instrumental in some rather important things that have gone on in the world.
Yeah.
And now Elon Musk and his little Republican army are going to come in and absolutely destroy it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's already kind of feels like it's Republican run, anyways.
No, it's not.
How much worse they can make it. I know,
no.
It already feels like it. Like they ignore people that are harassing people already. Like I just don't know what would change that they could make it worse. I don't know. I'm not going to freak out and leave it yet. Oh,
I can absolutely conceptualize it being worse. I mean, as shitty as it is right now, it can always get worse.
I mean, I just don't know. It's just, if everybody just stayed off the goddamn feed and just used it like I used it, Twitter's not toxic for me. I don't go onto the feed. Oh, I think she's back.
I can't help it.
How about now, Jenny?
I'm going to have to step out and step back in.
Okay, go ahead.
But no, and I understand what Jenny's saying, and I'm being like flippant about it because, my reaction to being upset is to make jokes. But it is a very important like gathering place for people like us because I have the benefit of living in a city and there are like lots of in-person trans meeting groups here. Like I've interacted with 3 or 4 of them already. But everywhere isn't like that. There's people that live out in the fucking desert like you do. There might not be as many trans people. It might be a lot harder to be part of our advocacy as a group because you just don't have the social infrastructure in person. And so I totally understand that. And I do think that like Elon Musk has demonstrated himself to be extremely unsympathetic to liberal causes. So but I also don't think that
of course he's a money hoarder. Most of the money hoarders are Republicans.
Yeah, but I also don't think that he's going to be the singular figure behind every decision-making process because he doesn't do anything at any of the companies that he owns or is part owner of. He hires managers that do shit for him.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think he's going to do a fucking thing. I think he's in it for the money. I don't think he gives a fuck about how Twitter.
He's in everything for money. However, I do think that this is a terrible investment for him because Twitter was not worth $45 billion. And there's already like sabotage groups that are like planning to like change shit post and stuff and do stuff to make the platform more toxic on purpose to drive the shareholder value down so that his money basically
people need
evaporates
hobbies
into the fucking air.
Get a better hobby. Who the fuck cares?
I know. But like I do think that this is gonna blow up in his face regardless. But
sure. I mean, but that doesn't affect me.
Yeah.
It just doesn't affect me. I'm just not worried about it.
Yeah.
He's a talentless dick who will make Twitter do bad things just because he can. Commander said Elon Musk is a charlatan and I accidentally deleted my post.
So this is the thing that like there are lots of people, there are like droves of people that love Elon Musk because they have a very uninformed opinion of who he is. And since we've never really talked about him on here before, I'm going to give my 2 cents on the subject, which is that he has never created anything. Elon Musk has never created anything. He inherited wealth. He used that wealth to buy his way into the title of founder for Tesla. Elon Musk did not found Tesla. He bought the rights to call himself the founder. And he has done that with several other companies that he is part owner of. He has never made a fucking thing. He has bought himself onto boardrooms. He has hired other people or bought ideas from other people. He's not a genius. He's just a guy that has a lot of money.
I agree.
Yep.
That's all he is. That's what Trump could have been if he played his cards right and he wasn't an idiot.
And the only reason
it's the only reason I know Elon Musk is not an idiot.
The only reason
he may
he's
not
buying
know shit, but he knows how to make money.
Yeah.
The only reason he is buying Twitter is because he got his ego bruised.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
About what?
People call him out on Twitter all the time for all the shit that I just said.
Actually, what stimulated this, people believe stimulated this. Okay, now I'm going to get this. I'm going to screw this story up. I know. So somebody's going to have to check it and confirm exactly the dynamics in here. But apparently, it has to do with a transgender person. Okay.
Oh,
this person was involved with somebody in his family or with him, or go ahead, Larry.
So his ex-girl Grimes is now dating, or has claimed to be dating Chelsea Manning.
Yeah. That's
been the whole
and
thing.
and go ahead.
But and then I don't know the rest of the story beyond that, but I know that Chelsea Manning has just been absolutely torching him on Twitter for the last week over something that he did.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and so he's going to buy Twitter, and he's going to just set it straight, and he's going to destroy all the stopgap safety measures that have been put in place to eliminate trolling and eliminate all the nasty behavior of the extremist right wing, because this is what he's about.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that he's actually going to do any of that.
How do you know he's going to do that? I think people are freaking out before
a person's predicted
conspiracy theory.
Predicting a person's behavior is best done by looking at their past.
Yeah, I know, but I also think that he's also the kind of person.
Did he say he was going to do something horrible to Twitter? I mean, I don't know. Maybe he will, but I'm not going to want to jump out of there and take off and lose all my contacts until.
Beck, one of the things
unless he affects the messenger part of it, I don't care.
One of the things that he repeatedly has said is that he's going to restore free speech to Twitter, which is a dog whistle for allowing people to persecute minorities.
Right. I agree.
And so that's something that people are genuinely concerned about.
Okay, if he said that,
community standards,
then we have the right to be concerned about that. Absolutely.
Yeah. But so I'm not super worried about it because I think that he's a typical rich person and that he's going to get bored of this in 3 days. And I don't think that he's ever going to personally walk into a boardroom and give them new standards or guidelines. I think he's just going to strut around and flaunt the fact that he owns it, and then he's going to forget about it.
Oh, I agree at all. I think he's far too immature to let bygones be bygones. Just no way. He's going to go at it tooth and nail because his little ego's been bruised, and he's just a little white boy with a short penis that has got to get people thinking it's a big one again.
Jenny, Justin just handed me a tape measure.
I love Justin right now.
I don't know why he just sprinted back upstairs.
Good timing, Justin.
Here, you might need this if we're having a dick measuring contest.
Yeah.
Oh boy, Well, okay, you don't spend a lot of time on Twitter, B, do you?
I don't mess with the feed unless I'm showing something.
Yeah. Okay.
I just ignore
Okay.
it. If somebody says
As
something rude, I just block them
Yeah.
and move on with my life.
Yeah.
trans people are already in huge danger and are absolutely excoriated every day by the crap that's on Twitter, put on by a bunch of lying sacks of crap. Okay, and people who are threatening us with our lives. Um, and that's under the administration that is on our side.
No, I
Okay,
understand that, honey. I understand
you
that.
know how
I'm
bad
not
it's going to
saying
get.
I'm not saying the feed isn't toxic. I never said that. I
Mhm.
said I don't read it. And
Right,
if I
right.
do look at it and I see some asshole, I just block
Yeah.
him. I don't ever because I'm not going to change that person's mind.
Yeah.
We're not changing people's minds
See,
here.
but okay,
We're
well,
trying to open them.
your what your argument basically is right now is that you're saying, oh well, don't worry about it because I don't have anything to do with it. Whatever it does to you, it doesn't matter to me,
That's
and
not
that's
what I'm
fine.
saying.
And
I'm saying
that's fine.
why fucking enable
Yeah.
the toxic people out
Yeah.
there?
So
Just get rid of them.
That's why
Jenny,
he
they're
bought it.
gonna say whatever they want, wherever they want, anyways. Every other platform out there, they can do it on.
That's
If they don't
why
use
he bought
if they
it.
don't use key
Yeah.
racist words or key slurs, they can say whatever they want. They're gonna say it anyways. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter if I battle them or not.
Back.
I'm not,
Hold on.
I don't have the knowledge to battle them.
Hold
So
on.
I block them and move on with my fucking life. I got way more
This
important things to worry about than fucking Twitter.
stop.
Yeah.
Stop. This
I did.
is why
I was
he
finishing my
bought
sentence.
it. Because he
Okay.
wants it to be able to do all those things that you were just saying.
Then
Yeah.
everybody make up a better platform and we can all talk.
That's what
Because
people
most
are
of them
trying to
suck.
do.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
then fine.
so a lot of
We'll just
I don't
move on. Nobody has to worry about it.
I don't know anything about Mastodon, but I've heard something about lots of people are moving over to Mastodon as a platform. But like there is an impact of online
There you go.
toxicity that extends beyond the browser. It's not just that somebody's yelling at me and therefore
Bless
I
you,
block them and it goes away. There's this, we talked a lot about stochastic terrorism when it came to like the MAGA phenomenon, where like allowing people to sit in these chat rooms and spew incorrect, hateful bullshit resulted in real world violence. And that's something that a lot of people are very afraid for in the trans community, is because there's all these chat
And I
rooms
get
and all
that,
these people gathering and
but
talking
one
about how
platform is
dead.
not gonna change much.
No.
There are 5 million
It
platforms out
can
No,
when it is the majority platform that billions, literally billions of people are on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if all the let's say all the good people get fed up and they all leave.
Mhm.
Let them all talk among it doesn't matter, Jenny. There's platforms, even if you shut down Twitter entirely, they would just find another platform. And then it would be the big platform.
Well,
Like
and
Facebook
that's
Messenger was the
again
platform, and
what I
MySpace was the platform, and AOL was the it just changes every time.
Yeah.
They
right,
just
and
switch
that's
to
what
the
we're
one that's
trying
full
to.
of people.
That's what we're trying to say. If you'll listen, please. Yeah, back. Come on,
I
just
was
just a
listening.
second. Let me get a word in here, edgewise. People are looking for a new platform. That's what this is all about. People are looking at Mastodon. People are looking at Counter Social and a couple other places, and until people figured all that out, there's going to be this huge gap where people who are dependent on this communication are not going to be able to.
I know that's
Yeah.
the shitty part. I know.
Well, that's the problem.
That's
And
why
this
I'm
is,
not
and it's
willing
all
to
going.
abandon it yet. There's
And it's,
so many people connected on there.
people are not abandoning it yet. They are trying to find an alternative so that they can abandon it if they need to.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
And
good.
this is kind of the problem that like our community specifically has had this problem before, where like every time we try to create our own space, people find out, oh, this is where all the freaks hang out. Let's go bother them. And that happens with like private groups on Discord that I've been in, and that happens on all kinds of places.
Yeah,
Mhm.
actually, Sandy, I do know that, but I have no idea what happened. So
Oh yeah, I don't know what happened with the whole critical
if you want
cripple
to tell us what
situation.
happened, then I can be informed. I just know that he was banned. I didn't know it was permanent.
Hi, Sandy.
Somebody just told me it was banned. She did send you air kisses, Jenny. Hi, Jenna. How are you, beautiful? Hello, Spackle and Dr. Cross and Aaron and Sandy. Everybody. Hi, everybody.
Somebody said I said something profound, and I have no idea what they were talking about.
Critical Cripple doesn't even know why they were banned. Obviously it was something that they said online on Twitter, but they don't know what it was. They have, I guess, not appealed it, or if they have, it hasn't gone anywhere yet. But they have different accounts in the background that they can get onto and use.
Oh, yeah. I know they do. Yeah, I know. Oh my gosh, you kidding? CC is like a computer hacker.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about them communicating with us. They will find a way around it.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
They are.
I used to have a bunch of alts, but I think I deleted them all.
So, Cadence, what say you about all this? You didn't get a chance to talk yet. We were all talking over you.
Twitter is Twitter. I'm not going to leave Twitter. I left Facebook because Facebook got stupid. Lots of unskippable ads, stuff that was forced into the timelines. And I was just following it for like rally car pictures and goth girl pictures. And that was literally it. And
so you're
when
like,
it was
fuck it.
ad, picture, ad, and the ad blocker wasn't catching it, I just deleted the whole damn thing.
Yeah.
If Twitter,
I quit using Facebook years ago. I mean, I only check on my family there. That's the only reason I still have Facebook.
If Twitter gets like that, I will leave it. But right now, it's just like my timeline is the people I pay attention to, and that's it.
Exactly.
The rest of it, like I'll click on some news stories every now and again, and it's toxic as fuck. Yes, it is. But I can click the X and go do something else afterwards. So it's not that big of a deal. But whenever it becomes unusable, then I'll get rid of it.
Yeah.
Or if that dumbass starts making us pay for it.
Yeah. I'm never gonna pay money.
If they start charging for Twitter, everybody's gonna.
I'm never gonna pay money for the privilege of repeated psychological trauma.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Hey, let me pay.
That's like
to torture me.
Yeah. The problem that I have is that I only follow trans people, pretty much, and like some celebrities and artists and stuff that I like. But mostly, I only follow trans people. So whenever something bad happens to a trans person on this earth, I have to know about it, because one of these hundreds of thousands of people are all, someone will post it. And so that's the part about Twitter that hurts me personally, that I need to edit my own experience of it, because every day when I scroll through my timeline, it's like, I need money and my surgery got canceled. This person was murdered and then set on fire, that kind of shit. You consume nothing but that for, whatever your time you're on your phone. That hurts. That hurts deeply. And that's the kind of experience that I need to separate myself from, because I'm one guy. One guy. I have $10 a week that I could throw into somebody's GoFundMe to try to feel like I'm making things better. And that's all I've got. And so I can't absorb all this pain from everywhere all the time and still be okay.
And see, that's why y'all haven't heard from me for several months. It's because I had to step back from that for a long time.
Yeah.
I was wondering where you were, if you were just busy or I didn't know what happened.
No, I
didn't hear anything bad, so I assumed you were okay.
Yeah, I tried to check in every now and again so people would know I'm okay, but I just needed to, like I said before, I needed that mental break from all the crap.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, talking head channels and stuff like that was a source of it, and I had to back away for a little while, but
yeah,
I'm coming back.
Glad to see you.
There's only one thing that I still use Facebook for, and it's the most wholesome thing in the world. I'm part of a crochet group, and 99% of the people on this crochet group are older women, and they've never met a man that crochets. And so I just get all this attention. It's 100 grandmas patting me on the head every time I post something that
I've. You should try to run into this kid that we have in the La Crosse, Wisconsin area.
Yeah.
I forget his name. It's right on the tip of my tongue, and I can't say it. He's like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 maybe in
Yeah.
there, and the motherfucker crochets with the speed of lightning.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
You see the dude that's in the TikTok videos, the little.
I would not be surprised if he has
blonde, brown hair. What?
No, he's a young African American.
I know that
Oh, okay.
he has a brand now. I was at
Yeah,
Joann's
I would
the other
expect.
day, and I looked, and he has these like little crochet kits where it's like a little small pattern for a kid to learn.
Like kids can do it. Oh,
yeah.
cool.
And I bought one, and I'm never gonna do it because like I'm a grown up and I write patterns for fun. But like I bought it because I was just so happy that he, is doing something.
Well, apparently he has just absolutely tickled to death people, big names in the crochet and knitting community. I don't know who those would be, of course. And he's just, everybody is just bowing to him that he's so good, this kind of thing. And I know he's on Twitter. I ran into him because it was on the local news. And everybody in town is just, oh my God, about him too.
Cool.
So
I saw a lot of posts about him in that crochet group where people were posting videos of him doing his thing. And I love that. I love that, like, this is such a, like, crochet is such a stuffy old world craft. And people have this idea that, like, only 90-year-old women and rockers do it. But, like, I see a lot of younger people picking it up now. And that just makes me happy because it's like it's an old world tradition that deserves to be able to continue. Because
my mom knitted from the time she was a kid until she didn't have time to do it anymore. She was working a bunch of fucking jobs and life was crazy. But when I was a kid, she would sit there and knit. Yeah. She taught me how to crochet. I wasn't very good at it. And we decided I'm not a crochet or knit or is what we decided together. Yeah, it was bad. I'm not meant to do that shit.
I'm making an enormous granny square Afghan right now, and it's the one that's got the skulls. I've got some right next to me, but I need to make 140. No, I need 150 of these, and I've done them in all rainbow colors because gay.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But no yellow because I don't like yellow. Fuck yellow. I don't know.
That's like the people who are into various needlework, crochet or not crochet, whatever the cross stitch, all that kind of junk. They're doing things like making these little pretty house scenes with a cottage and a river and some deer and some doggies, and then it says something like, "Don't fuck with me."
Love that shit. Well, that's why I like to do so. Like when I make my own crochet patterns, I like to do weird stuff like monsters and like demons and stuff. Because to me, the funniest thing in the world, like this is my joke that I tell myself over and over, and I laugh at it, is putting this like old traditional stuffy craft with this new weird bizarre shit. My favorite fucking thing.
Yeah.
I can cross stitch. I don't have any of the like materials to do it right now because I haven't done it for very many years. But my mom used to do like whole fucking tapestries, like the one that would be like 4 foot by 5 foot. She did one for a friend's wedding that was like all bells and purple flowers and stuff. But that was one of the first crafts that my mom ever taught me how to do, was how to cross stitch. She taught me when I was 7 years old.
Cool.
Aaron, did you think to pre-weight test the rope before you swung?
Yes. Not all fibers created equal, Aaron.
No, not all fibers created.
However, I will tell you that I did that exact same thing, except I didn't crochet it. I finger knitted it. So I like did it around my fingers. And it was like even worse than it would have been if it were crocheted, because if it were crocheted, it would have at least been tight stitches.
Right. Right. Yeah, when you knit, you go like this, and it's 3 times longer than what it was. Well, not really, but you know what I mean.
I really enjoy watching people who do crochet, who make lace and doilies and stuff. It's working at that level of just microscopic stitches and things like that. It's really amazing to watch.
I've been trying to get into micro crochet, but it's one of those things where like I got fat fingers, okay? And so like I got a bunch of embroidery floss to try to crochet with, and I was trying to make like bookmarks and stuff, and I couldn't get my like tension of the stitch correct because of like trying to can't do it.
No, I'm good.
But I have done stuff like I've made snowflakes and stuff for decorations for Christmas, and that's probably the closest I've ever done to lace. So. Well, that's wholesome, Bugs.
Sandy said that's the stuff her grandmother did, Jenny.
Lace cool.
Oily and stuff.
My sister-in-law's mom did some of that. She just started getting into it in her later years and then passed on.
Yeah.
So get real far into it.
Yeah. Anyways,
I got a good news thing about trans stuff.
Oh, I love good news.
Some of you may have noticed that I tweeted out to a bunch of folks a link to Linktree so that they can look up and punch in and get involved with the Church of Prismatic Light.
Church of Prismatic Light.
And what exactly is that, Jenny?
Well, it is a legitimate church, okay? Mm-hmm. But in the definition of the word church as having absolutely nothing to do with a God or a Jesus or a Bible, that is a bunch of people, okay? Church is a band together of people. It has nothing to do with religion.
Right.
And so they are starting this church as a religion, okay, defining it as a religion, so that they can get federal approval of that, the tax status of that, and once that comes along, they can stand there and say, we have constitutional rights because we are a legitimate religion, and these are our beliefs.
Oh, so we're doing a John Oliver.
Even better than John Oliver, because what the tenets of the group are things like, we believe that we have the right to bodily autonomy, and we don't need any goddamn fucking government standing in our way and telling us what we can and cannot do to it. Okay, and that's going to include things like abortion. It's going to include trans child care. It's going to include trans adult care. And we're going to be able to go directly head to head with these motherfuckers. The idea came up last week, apparently. And these women out east, I believe, said, yeah, let's do this, and started getting involved in it. And like Friday, there's already, and this is a count from late Saturday night, there were already 50,000 people who joined. No shit. Okay.
And it's called Prismatic Light, the
Church of the Prismatic of Prismatic Light. No, just the
logo
of Prismatic Light.
Of Prismatic Light.
The logo that they've come up with
is beautiful,
stunning.
It almost sounds like exactly what the Satanic Temple is doing, but more LGBT focused.
Yeah.
Because it
will have direct bearing on what's going on in places like Alabama and Texas and Georgia right now. That they would be, once it is established, they can stand there and say we can sue and say this law is constitutionally wrong because it infringes on our religion.
Oh, I wonder how that would play out.
If all the justices from the ground up play by the rules, it should be absolutely victorious, just like gay marriage was.
And see, that's the kicker, because that's what Satanic Temple is doing, and they're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars fighting these legal battles for religious exemptions and stuff like that. Yeah, and they're getting plenty of kickback.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have a feeling Prismatic will get the same kickback. But I also wish them the same success that TST is getting.
Yeah. Well, they've already been granted 503c4 status as a nonprofit.
Yep.
They have a board of directors. They are currently writing the bylaws and stuff. It's completely legitimate. I've set up grassroots organizations before back in the hippie days, and they're doing everything correct. They're doing everything they're supposed to do, and this is going to come to fruition in no time at all. There's already pushback from some of the extremist right wing who want to make this stop before it even gets started. And remember, this is only 2 days old. Only 2 days old, and it's already freaking them out to like crazy. So it is going to work, and they know it.
Wow, good.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the main page on Reddit, I guess. It's the first place I found it at. Where else is it, Jenny? Do you know?
They have a website that actually lists all their social medias.
They have a link tree, and I sent you a link to. I sent you a link to that, B.
Yeah, I got it.
And if you go to the link tree, then all of their connections are right there. I have joined. Joining is a matter of name, email, password. You're in. They're going to apparently vet people later on, so that the only people that have any sort of authority or voice in the organization are trans people.
Good.
Yeah, not even allies. Mm-mm.
Neat.
Hey, Richard. Richard's in the chat.
Oh, my brother?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, hey, brother.
Put the link tree in the chat. That way everybody who's interested can click it.
Boy, that ended up being a long link. Why did it come out like that? Is it going to shorten it?
Damn it! I said I was going to close Twitter because I'm so easily distracted. No, but that's really good. That's really good to see, though.
Yeah, it's the first piece of good news we've had in years.
I don't know why we didn't think about this sooner.
Here, let's do this instead.
Here's you're right. I agree.
From like the standpoint of having like legal standing in court, churches have some of the greatest aggregation of political power in America.
And see, that's what the Satanic Temple was trying to do, but it's because they're the Satanic Temple, the name itself and the symbology. I understand the tactic. I'm a member of it. I've got membership for both my dead name and my trans name. So, I've got both legal standings all the way through. But
for what?
For our optics, though, that's not really that great because, it's already, it's so easy for us to get, slandered in public already. Giving them the ammunition of saying, look, they're admitting they're satanic.
And see, that's the thing I was trying to bring up, too, is that
even though I personally, I understand what the Satanic Temple is, and I've read the Satanic Bible, most people are not going to go to the effort of understanding what the philosophical point of the institution is. They'll just see Satan on it and they go, oh, well, I don't have to listen to those people.
Yeah. And see, it's both a blessing and a curse because it stands out. It's the shock factor. Yeah. People will pay attention to it, but whether they pay attention for the right reasons or the wrong reasons.
And I would expect that this group is going to have more clout than the Satanic group because of the optics of Satan.
Yeah.
And that we do have a backing of most of the people in the country believe that LGBT people have protective rights that are protected. And so it's going to be there. We're just creating a formal tool to make that lever work.
I wonder what kind of mechanisms
you can't get in.
What?
If you're a supporter,
there's going to be, as far as I understand. Okay, I'm certainly not an expert. I'm not one of the planners and developers of it. So,
right.
And everything is still in flux. There's no absolutes here right now. It's a developing organization and stuff. There's concern that if allies have power within the organization, that it'll get diluted, that they can be infiltrated by the evil people and just fuck the whole thing up. And so they believe that if they vet and allow only trans people to have any voting power or structural organizational say in it, that they'll be a lot safer. How they're going to do that, I don't know.
Yeah.
What role they're going to allow allies to have, I don't know. But they have talked about, of course, allies should have some input or membership and support.
Yeah, I totally understand that as a concern. And I get that, like, on the surface, to people who are not trans, that may seem unfair. But we do have a huge problem of well-meaning allies trying to speak over us and, like, trying to tell the straights what we believe in. And they're not always on the same page as us. So, like, you'll see a lot of, like, well, even trans people don't support kids getting gender affirming care, and, like, that's not true. I believe in kids getting gender affirming care. Now, I don't think that 11-year-olds kids should get surgery.
Oh, I've never met a trans person who thought they should.
Yeah, no, and but I believe that we should use their pronouns, and I believe that if you have a daughter who's transitioning to be your son, that you should buy them the clothes that they want to wear, and like that kind of stuff. Like, that people put words in our mouths is just the point that I'm addressing there, because there are so many more straight people than there are of us that our narrative kind of gets taken away from us.
Yeah, we are only 0.5 to 1% of the population. Nobody has an exact number.
I'm actually positive we're bigger than that, but a lot of people are either too afraid to come out or just don't have it.
Well, that's a number reflecting trans people. If you put the whole LGBT QA community in there, which the church is doing, it's getting set up that way.
Yeah.
As far as they have seven tenets that make up the doctrine of the church. Okay, and by that now we bring in about what they believe 10% of the population is gay, something like that.
Yeah,
and
like
so
one of the alphabet.
Yeah. So we're talking about a much bigger group. It's important to note that this has nothing to do with Christianity or some kind of deist religion at all. It is absolutely secular, no deists involved, nothing to do with pledging to some person or God.
Good.
It's not. It's just us. Exciting. It's going to be really exciting.
Yeah. Sandy, I'm sorry. She said, well, that it's exclusionary, and I do not support that. I support the idea, but to exclude us based on our personal preferences, then screw it. Don't assume so much about trans allies. It hurts those of us who truly do support your decisions.
Well, that's
my personal opinions.
That's exactly the discussion that's going on. Is that, look, we have a lot of allies who are on our sides. Absolutely, we have to find a way to bring them in without destroying the concept of the church, and it's just a matter of time figuring that out.
I suppose that it depends on how we're framing this construct, because, like, if we're framing this like this is a support tool for trans people, like, say if it was like a support group, like, it makes sense to narrow a support group to the people that are being supported. Yeah. But if this is like a meet and greet, a more casual kind of place, then it doesn't make as much sense to be that exclusionary. But I like this, like you said, Jenny, the concept of this came up within the week, so like nobody knows what it is yet.
Right. Somebody else asked a question: who's organizing this? Some trans people out east. That's all we can tell you. Is
I posted the link tree in the chat, Jenny, and I told Aaron to go check that out.
There is one woman who seems to be the primary spokesman and is probably the person whose main idea it was, and her name is Wildfire something or other. She's on TikTok. She's on Twitter. She's just all over the place with that base name, and then there's various things that are added onto it, for the different platforms.
Blonde girl,
huh?
Blonde lady.
Yeah.
Okay,
short hair.
she's on the top of the page talking about she had put a video up of them getting approved.
I'm sure they would be happy if you wanted to put some of that up and let people actually see it, because she, in her TikTok, she actually goes through the 7 tenets. If anybody wants to hear what it's about.
Let's see here. She's got all the same, pretty much. It looks like to me all the same information on Twitter. So if you guys just want to, if you're Twitter people and you want to go check her out on Twitter or check out the church in general, I will. Hold on, let me. Give me 1 second. Get the link.
Pardon me.
I heard that.
Yeah.
Hold on a second.
I'm back. Sorry, I had to go away temporarily.
Okay, here we go. Here's the. Got a whole bunch of tabs open. Oh my God, Dr. Cross, I love homemade ceviche. So good. I used to work with this Mexican guy, and he would bring it into work, and he'd bring a whole stack of those corn tortillas in the sleeve, and he'd just feed everybody. He'd bring like a whole dish of it. Oh, homemade stuff.
Oh, see, now you're making me want some enchiladas.
I can just drive 30 minutes, and I can get enchiladas every 100 feet.
I literally get enchiladas delivered to my house.
Okay, there you guys go. There's the Twitter username thing there. And I'm already following, so...
Yeah, so pass the word to any trans people you know that this exists, and they're hot and heavy for more users. The more members it has, the more credibility it has, of course. And,
right.
And for 50,000 overnight, Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah. Nobody expected this kind of response.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really do think their logo is really beautiful. It's a heart-shaped thing that is fashioned to look like the facets of a jewel. Okay, mm-hmm. And then the reflection, the fire that's coming out of the jewel is the LGBT colors.
Yeah, it's basically every color on the rainbow.
Yeah,
but they are mainly it's trans in the middle, and then the other colors are on the outside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really kind of
it's actually pretty. Yeah, I like the script around it, like the old, what was it, MGM or Fox or whatever had the script that wrapped around Globe script around it. Anyways, yeah, no, it's pretty.
Oh yeah, I forget who did that. Was that RKO? Did that? I don't know. It doesn't really matter.
Not really.
But yeah, it really is good news. Mm-hmm. You know, I really am embarrassed that I didn't think of this either. You know,
because you can get away with anything in this country if you're part of a religion.
So smart.
Exactly, and you, like you mentioned, John Oliver, and what he did. This is easy to do, to set up a church, and to get these papers, and so. That's why the right wing is so upset right now. Oh my God, all these people we've been torturing are going to come back at us now.
I would totally like actually be part of a humanist church, like in real life, out in the really real world.
Well, this is that. It's a legitimate church.
I know that, like, somewhere like on the corner, and you go and you have coffee with people. You know,
a physical location,
Well, it may develop into that. This can go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
True.
We just got to push it in that direction.
Yeah.
This is ours. They can't take it away. They can't. Once it's established.
Sandy, What would I know? I've only been mislabeled as lesbian and butch, and as a second-class citizen 1,000 times. I've only had and lost dozens of gay friends in the 80s. No, I don't understand. Sarcasm intended.
Well, I think if anybody's going to be an honorary member, you should be, Sandy.
I know, right?
Sandy, I don't think that anybody really knows about that yet. It's a little
nobody's
premature.
I've never heard the word excluded used yet.
Yeah, they haven't said they're going to exclude anybody. They're just starting here and then they'll build it up. I'm sure they're going to have some kind of like criteria so somebody doesn't bring somebody in that's some hater and they're acting like they're not, but just to not get infiltrated right away.
It took years to write
once they build a good base, then it won't matter. So
it took a long time to write the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. It didn't happen overnight.
Damn straight. That was a whole bunch of white dudes sitting in a room make decisions.
Yeah. Now we're going to undo all that crap that they put in.
Well, I don't understand why there should have been written in the Constitution that certain parts can be updated with the societal changes.
It is.
That's what they should have done.
It is.
Where?
In the Bill of Rights.
Then why is it not fucking done?
Because to actually get an amendment to the Constitution made, it takes like certain percentages of majorities in Congress.
Well, I know that.
And our Congress is just so partisan that it's functionally right now not very possible.
So we're just not getting anywhere. We're just staring at each other.
Yes, basically.
Touche.
Because people are the way that they are.
Yeah, and then whatever the Congress and Senate is, then at least 38 states have to vote in favor of it.
Yeah,
on their state level.
And the way that we run our politics right now with this whole red versus blue nonsense, there's just for the fact that a blue person put it forward, the red people will never vote for it, even if it's something that makes complete sense and benefits the red people, and vice versa.
Pretty much.
The system was designed on incremental change. Okay, they didn't want radical change to be able to happen in the country, in the government. That's why the Senate is structured the way it is, and the House is structured the way it is, and that a bill takes forever to get through.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that can work against us too.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of people who hate the Electoral College. Get rid of the Electoral College. Well, it's part of the Constitution, folks, and it's not going to go away without all of that work that has to be done.
Yeah. And I think that there are certain actors that benefit too much from the Electoral College for them to want to throw it away.
Well, yeah, like Trump did in the last one, and and we did in this one. So the people, if it's working for you, you love the Electoral College. When it's not, then you hate it.
Yeah.
As we love you too, lots, Sandy.
Love you too, Sandy. Take care. I didn't realize I was still muted. She said, and I support you. We know you do, sweetheart. You're
so there's because of the Electoral College as one of the stimulating factors. There's a lot of people who are saying we need to have a constitutional convention. And they believe that because that would allow us to rewrite the entire Constitution. Well, yes, it would, and that would be a very dangerous thing in today's political climate, because you could end up with a manipulated voting body that picks up something like we are going to make a constitutional amendment against gay people, or a constitutional amendment to end gay marriage. Yeah. Or to ban adoption, or to ban transgender services, and they could make it really, really, really bad when it's all opened up, and that's what happens with a constitutional Congress. So, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah,
I just wish that people didn't hate people for stupid reasons. That's all I wish. Not so much to ask.
Apparently.
Oh.
Yeah, all this and all we want is to just be able to live,
get
married, maybe.
I can't
Just
think about
have
it
a
all.
normal life.
I can't think about it all the time because if I think about it all the time, then I will probably kill myself. But like I'm literally I'm over here. I'm sitting in my house. I'm trying to live a life. I'm not bothering anybody. I'm not messing with anybody.
Nope.
I want to sit here and eat chips and play Minecraft. And people want me to die because of that.
I just want to wear a skirt
lovely?
and pee in peace.
Right. God. Oh, not me, not the skirt thing, Cadence. I'm sorry.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Not into the skirt thing, but I do want to pee in peace.
Oh.
Sandy said, just so Jenny can know.
Yeah, I can see it.
Oh, you read it? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have to get about an inch away from my screen, but I can read.
Well, that's why I was gonna read it out for you. I know you have to. I've seen you do it before.
Oh yeah, man, you're right.
Exactly, Larry. And those people should go sit on a nail," said Sandy. Hey, Jay's here too. Welcome, Jay. Welcome, Jay. Yeah, unfortunately, Major, right.
There's my girl.
We all deserve a shot at happiness. Yes, ma'am. Or more than one. Because usually life doesn't let you get it right on the first try. So we all deserve several shots until we either get it right or fucking die.
Oh, and there's another thing that's going down on Twitter all of a sudden. Some turf decided to, they just make things up that are completely untrue, that are just the most horrible, degradative kind of things that they can imagine, and say this is a true thing about trans people. And the latest that has come out is
it the one that I think it is?
That they're finding all these black women dead with their uteruses missing.
Yep. We're stealing wombs now, people.
Oh my God!
This is fake.
What?
This is fake news. Not that anybody here needs to hear that.
Oh,
this is
there's people who believe it already. Okay, and they are saying, well, these trans people just have no business doing this, and who do they think they are? And there's all this shit. We got to watch those bastards. And it's like, wait a minute, this is not true. And they're bringing up the recent papers that say, yes, uterine transplants are occurring, that there's been 12 successful births from uterine transplants, and they're using that as proof that this is going on.
But those, first of all, those are like clinical trials. They're not available to the public, and they have only been performed on cis women.
No, there's been at least 2 transgender women in there.
Oh, did they successfully give birth?
I believe so, yes.
Neat.
I want to be happy, but I'm confused and angry.
Fucking awesome. That's fucking awesome.
That is awesome, but also
gives me hope for a better
it's
penis
still not
later.
a thing that's generally available.
You can have mine.
Well, that's what they're talking about is exchange programs.
We'll just switch.
Look, and now I feel really awful because
does it look normal?
No,
that's all I care
can't
about.
Give it to anybody.
Oh yeah, it's just tiny.
You trade this you, and you trade this you.
Well, never mind. I'll go back to Purple's offer.
Hey, I mean, small for that, for the opposite sex would still be better than what I've got.
You know what,
Aaron, you're absolutely correct. This is extremely dangerous because it's suddenly now these turfs and stuff, or the ignorati that surround the turfs, are able to say, now they're coming after my wife. Yeah. Now I have to do something and really stop these people, and that's where violence comes in.
Yeah, I would have to hope that only actually deranged people would fall for something this obviously false. But actually deranged people are also the most likely to commit violence in response to a piece of information like that.
Mm-hmm.
So now I don't know what I hope.
Aaron, I have no doubt that that rumor from the past of stealing kidneys had something to do with this person making this up. It had to be in their mind somewhere.
Well, that's like common anti-Asian propaganda also. The whole bathtub kidney thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's
that's been assigned to the Asians now? It was the Mexicans before.
No, well, people talk all the time about like tourists going missing in Thailand and waking up with no kidneys and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, and it used to be Central and South America.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, why are we? Somebody brought up Junior in the chat. I think that person should be banned. No, it's okay.
Hey, HH. How you doing, buddy?
It's got to be the worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
Oh,
I've only seen half of it.
No.
Yeah, I don't think I made it to the end of that one either. Well, they already do hate us. They're just fueling fires. That's what they do, Aaron.
Yeah.
It's called,
Well,
if
see,
you
'cause,
keep
like-
the people divided, then the people are not united to stand up and fucking fix shit.
See, like
The government doesn't want us united. They want us separated and desperate and needing of them. That's what they want.
They wanted, like, the weird thing about this is that they hate us because of these imaginary things that they've made up about us, but they have to make up imaginary things to hate about us because we aren't fucking doing anything to anybody. We're just over here living our fucking lives.
We're just the target of this decade, is what it is.
I mean, certainly trans people have there's a lot of weird people amongst us. But overall, I've never heard of like, a problem with crime in the transgender population that are a bunch of criminals.
No,
or that we do anything like sexual assaults or anything like that. But we keep getting
that's
these,
the thing.
these
Do you
absolute
think we'd want to go to jail, Jenny, and end up in the wrong fucking cell?
Well, exactly.
That's why we all behave.
Yeah, we do not have disproportionate representation of criminals in our community. And the only time they ever did a study about that, they actually found that we're like something like 11% less likely to commit crimes. Because we are fucking afraid of American jail.
Yeah, who wouldn't?
The study
I
was
wouldn't
done in
want
America.
fucking-
I don't know about anything abroad.
Most of us are afraid of restaurant bathrooms, much less freaking jail.
Yeah, no shit, right?
I'm very afraid of jail in Indiana because Indiana is one of those states where like they don't care if you die screaming on your cell floor. So
America.
my brother was a prison guard here. Yeah.
That's right, Tubian. Yes.
Yeah.
Just like my black friend said years ago, trans people are the new on the block. Yes, we are.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But at the time when he said it, it was the lesbian and gay community that was the ones on the block. Yeah.
Well, and that's another frustrating thing about it is every bullshit thing that they're saying about trans people is exactly what they said about gay people 25, 30 years ago.
Exactly.
It's the exact same sentences.
They said, let's pull these signs out and just wipe that off and put trans instead. That's all they did.
Yeah.
So Maya said all others will always be targets, but it will always be one of us at any given time. It's like they can't breathe it. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what that proves to me, Maya? And I've said this forever. Those kind of people, they're miserable in their own fucking lives.
Mm-hmm.
So they go out and try to destroy other people's. So that's all they're doing. Misery loves fucking company.
Mm-hmm.
Did anybody catch the tweet I sent out late in the day today? I sent it directly to Marjorie Taylor Greene, to Governor Abbott of Texas, to Governor DeSantis of Florida, to the Governor of Missouri, and to Lauren Boebert. And I basically said, okay, kids, it's time for you to stop saying these terrible things about trans people and trying to hurt trans people until you justify this list of 775 Republican politicians who have been or are currently under investigation or charges of pedophilia and sex offenses of some other type. 775.
Well, they don't care about that, Jenny, because those are middle-class white guys.
Well, they're congressmen and they're mayors and they're board supervisors, and they're Republicans who are hypocrites. It's bringing out, it's sticking it in their face and saying, "Look, clean your own house before you go after somebody else's."
See, the thing is that like they don't want to look into their own group because then the threat could be anything.
That's why I wrote them the tweet.
They it's easier for them if the threat is something visible like us, because we have our stereotypes, we have our colored hair and our pins that have flags on them and stuff that they associate with us, or like some people can gender clock us and that kind of stuff. They make the threat something that they can see, like they did with skin color and like they did with other things, because then they can identify it, then they think they can protect themselves, when the threat could be your dad, your brother, your date that you're going out with for the second time. The threat is everything. Now we make the threat this one thing, we can do something about it. And it's false, but it's what people do.
Mm-hmm.
It's the easy button for simple-minded people.
The ignorati, as I like to call them.
I like it. That's great.
That's with 2 T's and 2 I's.
Yeah. And that's why they also cling to these extremely ugly stereotypes of trans women as being like 6 foot tall bearded men in heels, because that's the most visible thing that they can think of to associate with our community.
Yeah, because the rest of them are so damn hot, you can't tell.
That's right, baby.
Yeah.
Look, let me tell you guys, I'm totally stealth at my job.
Yeah.
And in a way, I kind of want to tell the boss because she's just so fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be honest with her, but at the same time, I just don't want to tell anybody. I just want to stay stealth. And so like I met some of the people, they didn't even flinch. Hey, Beck, like I didn't have any issues. So I just try to talk deep the first time I meet him. Hey, how you doing, James? That's what I did. Shook his hand real manly, like,
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know, like, I don't want it to be found out later and cause a problem.
Yeah.
And I don't want her to be blindsided by it if it happens.
Yeah.
It might not. It might never, But I also have to go with a guy on a truck over, around the United States. So,
yeah.
I mean, we'll have our own hotel rooms and everything, but something could happen.
Yeah.
There could be some hint somewhere, and then
or
somebody could be just like they were saying, and just someone that can look at you or you were saying, I think, and just know,
Yeah.
And so I'm really in a dilemma right now what to do about that. What are you guys' thoughts on it? Because I don't think she'd care, because here it's an artist, eclectic community. Nobody gives a shit what you are. Like, nobody I've bumped into, one person went, oh, one person out of everybody I've told. And I've probably told 300 people in Santa Fe,
If they can assure you of confidentiality, I think it's a better idea to let the boss be in the know, so that they are not blindsided. I think that's a very fair thing for you to try to achieve.
Okay, because I handed her my license today, and I don't even think she saw the F on it.
Yeah,
she didn't say anything, and I don't know if that's just she noticed it and she's being cool, or maybe she just didn't even see it.
Since I have come out publicly as trans, every time that I've started a new job, the first thing that I've discussed, and usually in the interview, is the fact that I'm trans. And I do that for a very specific reason, and that's that if it's going to be a problem with people at that company, I need to know immediately, because I don't want to put myself in an unsafe situation by being around a bunch of transphobic people. But it's also so that like management knows, so that, and like at least one member of management knows, so that if you have a problem with another coworker, you know what the company's stance on supporting you is, and you know how to get that support if an incident happens.
Yeah.
So like if if your boss knows from the outset, like you said, that's not going to be a surprise for them. And then like if somebody starts yelling slurs at you, you can be like, hey, I need to not work with this, XYZ coworker anymore.
Yeah, and it won't be an explanation later.
Yeah.
Yeah. After she's grown trust and respect with me, right? That's what I was afraid of.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'll talk to her about it in the morning when I get there.
Yeah.
See what she says.
I'm in this situation now where I'm like half out at work. Because like I told my boss, I told my immediate supervisor that I work with, and then like the hiring manager that hired me knows because they both had access to my ID. But on all my paperwork and like the schedule and stuff, my name is my correct name.
Well, see, I had all my paperwork changed, so
yeah,
I could be totally stealth if I wanted to. But
so some people have kind of figured it out on their own, and some people think that I'm just a very fruity cis guy. And so I don't actually know for sure who knows I'm trans and who doesn't. So I just go about my day and I don't address it at all.
Yeah.
Because the only people who need to know already know.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll talk to her about it in the morning then. That's what I was thinking. I really wanted some opinions on it, and I trust you folks, so I thought
I was completely out in my days of running the car shops. Of course, I was the boss, so it didn't matter.
Yeah, right. That's always helpful. Yeah. Yeah. If I'm the boss, it wouldn't matter either. But I'm not.
Well, speaking of being my own boss, I think I'm gonna have to shut down my Etsy.
Oh,
and I'm very sad.
They charging too much now?
Yeah, I don't have a lot of sales, and between running the ads to promote it and paying like almost $1 now per sale, or like over $1, including the initial listing fee. I made negative money this month. And I just
shit.
And again, it's like there's other stuff that goes into it, because like a lot of my stuff was winter gear, and now it's getting warm and nobody needs beanies right now. But like, I just don't have money to spare.
Yeah, to pay into something that's not giving any return.
I'm gonna think it over, and I'm gonna see if I can come up with like 5 or 6 items to list that don't have anything to do with winter.
Yeah. And how about crochet some bikinis?
That would be horrible. That would be
yeah, I know.
Bad for your skin.
I went out with a girl in high school that, just after high school actually, who did that, knitted herself a bikini, and it looked great. But geez, are you gonna actually jump in the water with that? You know what's gonna happen?
Yo, what?
And she did, and it did.
Here's a health fact. There's a reason that most women's underwear has at least a cotton liner in it.
Yes.
And if you do not have a cotton liner in your underwear, then you should sew one in yourself, because it's super, super bad for your skin to have the vaginal mucosa like build up around your thigh panty line area. You get rashes and all kinds of other shit. It's not good. But
the gusset.
The gusset, that's what it is. Yeah.
Okay. Yes,
I saw that tweet earlier.
There you go. Mage said, I've seen knit bikinis.
Yeah, they shouldn't. Also, because like knitted material has holes in it, and that's a private area.
Well, then you just put the piece of cotton on the inside.
Yeah. If you sew in your cotton liner, then you're fine.
Yeah.
People don't think about it, but trans women need to worry about that too.
Right.
We make a mess all day, just like anyone else.
Oh, Jenny, don't make me kick you. No, I'm just kidding. Make all the women's t-shirts a thin white t-shirt. Yeah, I bet, Ox.
Okay. Sure. For their health.
No, he said because he wants you to put on it summertime, let it all hang out, so it's see-through.
Yeah, but I don't want to.
It's okay. Ben already pitched the nipple list.
I'm attracted to women.
T-shirts.
I'm attracted to women and fellas, but I don't want to walk down the street and see everybody's bits all over the place.
No, I agree.
If a woman wants to fucking show off her boobs, I'm gonna fucking look. I won't say anything. I won't be rude. I wouldn't, gawk at her. But I'm gonna check the boobs out. Fuck yeah, I am.
Well, it's very weird. I feel very, very different than the majority of the trans community. The majority of the trans community having been from generations that are much younger than me.
Mm.
Their comfort level with public sexuality is way different than mine. I'm definitely 1950s here. Okay.
For me, it's not really like a values thing. It's like a repressed trauma thing. I'm comfortable with sex stuff of like all stripes.
Okay. Well, it seems a lot of young trans women aren't.
Yeah.
I just can't believe how many of the trans women on Twitter will actually publish pictures of themselves naked in various degrees. It's like, what?
Yeah.
How can you do that?
There have been prominent trans accounts that I've had to sadly mute because they became a porn account at one point. And I'm like, that's good for you. If that's fulfilling and making you happy and making you feel good about your body, like that's great. I'm happy for you. I just can't do that.
Oh yeah, I don't begrudge him for doing it at all. It's just I could never ever do that. It's just never gonna happen.
The closest thing I ever posted to a nude was me where I was showing off my surgery scars. And so I was wearing basketball shorts and I'm topless. And in that photo, I felt completely naked. It's still floating around out there, but like that, it was so embarrassing to me to post that photo.
Right.
Yeah, I couldn't even do that. That's
I probably don't know if I could do that. I mean, I know there's all these guys on TikTok and they're like, oh look, they got the drains hanging out and they're like, and I'm going, I don't know if I can.
Mine was like after.
I've covered my chest my entire life. I'm 50, and now all of a sudden I can bear it. Like it's gonna be weird at first to me.
I got a little bit used to being shirtless at home during recovery because I couldn't bear to have a shirt on me while I was dealing with all the drains and the crap, and I was so uncomfortable. And so like I got used to being shirtless at home, and then that kind of like carried over to me being comfortable being shirtless like on my like backyard area that had the privacy fence up.
Right.
And so like I wanted to be able to be comfortable being shirtless because for me that's just like a guy thing. And so that's why I took that picture. Because I was like, hey, look, fat guys can get
finally
and look good.
Finally, I can do this, right?
And but sure, like in practice, I don't actually go around shirtless anywhere ever.
Oh, if I lost my gut down a little bit, I would.
Yeah,
a little bit of my love handles in my gut, I would do it.
Yeah.
But if I'm hairy enough, I could just do that because. That's how guys are. They just don't care.
I live across the street from a school now, and I have this like paranoia that some parent is going to accuse me of being a pedophile by having my shirt not on. And so like, yeah.
Dr. Cross, funny thing, in Columbus, Ohio, it is absolutely legal to walk around topless. Don't know why that is, but every gay pride parade, they have a blast with it. No one has a shirt on. Well, no, it's not true. You have people.
Oh, doggy.
The majority of the people. Oh, the baby.
Nope.
All the people all the people that are
like
in the parade and on motorcycles and on the floats and everything. No tops.
Yeah.
Truly legal in the city of Columbus, Ohio.
I don't know what the legality is about being like actually completely topless, but I've seen it the Pride Parade here, people getting away with like pasties and nothing else.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, there are like trans guys in the streets that still have tops that they haven't gotten rid of yet, and they're walking around without a shirt.
Oh.
Yep.
I would have never been that. I would have never been confident.
I know the balls on those,
and that would have just been like a dysphoria thing because, like, for me, my breast situation was like the cornerstone of my dysphoria. Like that was what caused me the most pain, and so like having that out there for people to see.
Yeah, I saw these guys from the side, and I knew one of them was trans. I didn't know the other ones were.
Yeah,
and they were totally stealth. And then when I went across the street and went over this way, I was like, oh shit, they all have boobs still. I was like, wow, that's some balls, man. But that's how it is in Columbus.
Expensive.
Like, people they're like, nope, you can be topless. No one has to wear a shirt. You could literally just walk around the streets any day of the week in Columbus, Ohio, and get away with it.
It's like the equivalent for trans women in that would be
no, it's in the law
after they get bottom surgery and they finally don't have to ever worry about a bulge if things don't stick where they're placed down there. And trans women are just thrilled to death with how much better their underwear fits.
The Utah Supreme Court said it's gender discrimination.
Yes. That was.
I'll be right back, you guys. I got to get rid of some coffee.
I'm fascinated by that because Utah.
Exactly.
I was thinking that too.
You never know where it's coming from.
It's so weird.
It's like when I transitioned, I worked in social services, and the motto of the organization was unconditional positive regard, and they fired my ass and blackballed me behind the scenes.
That's bullshit. No, I want to tell you why I think that's bullshit.
Okay, let me just finish the little story.
Okay.
But the group that finally accepted me and said welcomed me in their arms was the automotive community. Duh. Okay. Would you normally expect that? No. But they were. Well, so go ahead though.
Oh, that makes me so fucking angry because I've been through social services here because I was severely disabled by my post-traumatic stress disorder. And one of the things I talked about with my handler was how, she loved seeing me because her day job was she was part of a sub-program specifically for rehabilitating pedophiles. That was her whole job. It was like she had a dossier of these men that she worked with who had, voluntarily approached her for treatment. And they have, stances on, they don't turn anybody away. And at least for that specific thing, because they have a policy of harm reduction. And she talked about how, how conflicted it made her feel because she had to, follow these guidelines for treating these men respectfully and equitably. And, in the best possible spirit of actually helping them rehabilitate and knowing and hearing all the terrible things that they had confessed to doing and this kind of stuff. And then we have that. We have agents that do that, but they couldn't handle you being trans?
Yeah.
Harms nobody?
Yeah.
That fucking sucks.
I scratched my head over it too for a long time. And of course they never said that we're firing you because you're trans, even though it was legal.
Yeah.
They said, oh well, we have some funding cuts that are coming up and this kind of stuff. And I said, well, why doesn't everybody else take 10% of a cut and pool that money and then I can get paid?
Yeah.
No, of course not. And then 3 months after they fired me, guess what was in the newspaper for in the classifieds? It's my old job. So I applied for it. And then boom, they said, oh well, we're not going to hire for that job. We changed our mind. You pricks.
Absolutely boggles my fucking mind. And I've been very fortunate, I think, in my experience, where most of the shit that I have encountered for, as far as people being negative about my trans identity has not been from institutions. It's been from individuals that I know. Because my mother-in-law, coming out and saying the shit that she said about me was painful, but it didn't ruin my life. If I were in this job that I have right now, if I were fired from this job tomorrow, I would not survive. I would be homeless because I live paycheck to paycheck, it hurts my emotions and my brain.
that was the biggest hurt for me too. Was, I expected a lot of loss with my extended family, aunts, uncles, cousins, stuff, because I knew them to be right wing and military or cops and this sort of thing, and so it's not going to go well. I didn't think it would go as badly as it did, but
Yeah.
but when my grandma, who I had a wonderful relationship all my life with, just absolutely became unhinged and cursed and screamed at me for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
One Sunday morning at 7 a.m. It was like, Grandma, what the fuck? I've never even heard you say these kinds of words. And here you are, just absolutely seething, spitting. She was so mad.
Yeah.
And then personal friends. I lost all my friends, and it was just, you think your friends are people that care about you and that you do stuff with and junk, and all of a sudden, no, they don't want anything to do with you suddenly.
Yeah.
And everyone's got an excuse of why it's not that you're trans,
Because they can't even like give you the dignity of, having the balls to tell the truth about it,
Yeah.
But no,
thanks, Ox.
I never actually, I never even came out to my mom because I had already cut her out of my life by the time I came around to realizing I was trans.
Mm-hmm.
But I found out after the fact, through my sister. My sister had told her that I was transitioning. And probably the worst part of my relationship with my mom was finding out that she would have supported me being trans after she had abused me for 17 years and, left physical and mental scars on me that would never heal, treated me like I was worth nothing, told me my entire life that I was worth nothing and that I meant nothing to her. And then
what the fuck?
She had like her moment where she started seeking mental health care and that kind of stuff, and she remarried a new man who wasn't an abusive asshole, and she decided that we're going to forget about the past, and so she just started pretending that she had never been that person. And her attempt to get back in with me after I cut her off was to message me and ask how she could support me in my transition. And that hurt more than anything I've ever heard from somebody.
So if you would have came out to her earlier, everything would have been fine?
No, it wouldn't have been fine.
How? Yeah.
This woman systematically, over the course of my entire upbringing, killed everything in me that had the ability to love her. And that could have never been fixed, no matter how much she just supported me, even if it had been genuine. And I'll never know for sure that it was. I'll never know for sure if that wasn't just another attempt to manipulate me. But that's just it. It sucks.
Damn.
I don't talk about that a lot because it makes me feel like I'm undermining everybody else's experience of wanting their parents to support them. That that hurt me that badly. But I don't know.
Yeah, Ox, you're right. In fact, when I was transitioning, and of course, this is back in the times where the number of transsexuals that anybody would know was extremely rare. That would probably represented 0.01% of the population. That just nobody ever heard of a trans person, never heard the word, much less meet one. And you would try to explain. Everybody had curiosity. Well, they wanted to know, what the fuck is this about? Because the standard line was, oh, you're a woman caught in a man's body, which is such bullshit. But it was the only way that people had known to, or could think of how to express it to people who weren't trans. And I mean, I think we've come a long way since then. I try to give folks a sense of it by asking them, At what point in your life did you choose to be heterosexual?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they're going to say, I just always was. And then I go, see? I've always been
I've
this.
asked straight people that. I'm like, when did you know you were straight? They were like, huh? Like, at what point did you know you were straight? What do you mean?
Yeah.
I've always been straight. But no, at some point you said, hey, girls are cute.
Mm-hmm.
Or you said guys are hot.
Mm-hmm.
So when did that happen for you? I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess when I was 10 or 11 or 7 or 8 or whatever they tell me. And I'm like, right. Okay, me too. I've known it my whole fucking life.
I think the first time I ever had a crush on a girl, I was like 9 years old.
Well, that sounds about right. Sure.
I had a boyfriend through grade
Thank you,
school,
by the way, Ox.
and
I
it turned
appreciate
out
that.
that we were both. Well, he's gay.
Yeah.
I have a rhetorical question I'd like to throw at the chat,
Go ahead.
and I'd like you to really put in an answer.
Doesn't that make it not
For
rhetorical?
It's not rhetorical.
for the assigned male at birth people?
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever in your life, do you recall ever saying to yourself, I wonder what it would be like to be a girl, or I wish I was a girl? And that you said it maybe once or twice in your life because of a particular situation or thing going on, and never again. Have you ever experienced that? Yes or no?
All right, guys and gals.
Okay. And while you're filling that out and submitting your answers,
Mm-hmm.
we have a lot of trans people who are trying to figure out if they're trans or not, and they'll always say something like, I've been asking myself this for years and trying to figure this out for years, and the simple answer is, non-trans people don't do that. Those maybe once or twice in their life they've gone, gee, I wonder what it would be like to be a girl.
And then that's it. They just
and then that's it. And you've been doing it for 25 years now. It's not
Jenny,
just a habit.
This is how I got Heather to understand some of my dysphoria, right? I said, what if, and I want every cishet person out there or cis person out there to think about this. What if you woke up in the morning and you looked in your pants and the wrong thing was there? And she was like, and I said to her, and you had a penis. And she's like, oh God.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at her and she goes, oh. Right. How would you feel about that? Every time you go to the bathroom, every time you put on clothes, every time you think about it, that wrong body part is there.
Yep.
It's horrible.
I remember that there were a lot of things that led up to me coming out as trans, especially to myself. But one of the things I remember is that I was very cut off from any kind of gay community because of the environment that I grew up in. It was very unacceptable.
It doesn't really work anymore, Ox. That's old school shit.
Yeah. But I was working in the pharmacy at Walgreens, and I had a patient, I had a customer come through my line, and they were a masculine presenting person. They had a prescription for testosterone, but they had a traditionally feminine name on their prescription. And my little brain put two and two together and was like, oh. And then just this feeling in the bottom of my chest and my stomach of seething jealousy.
Oh.
And I didn't know what to do with those emotions. I up to that point, I had never considered the fact that I might be trans. I just had a lot of dysphoria about my body, and I didn't know what that was about. Right. But then I figured it out, and I was like, oh, that person is doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
And the rest was history. But yeah, no, I remember having lots of hypotheticals in my head of I went out to do tryouts for the play, but I wanted to have the guys role. I wanted to sing this part in the choir. I wanted to do this, and it just I never fit in that role ever.
Me too. Yeah.
from like a
I just
small-
didn't know what to call it until I was like 30.
exactly.
You
Like
know?
That was my
Well, that's
thing
not
too. I
true.
didn't
I
have
was
a
like
name for
20
it.
something.
yeah,
I was like 20 something, but I didn't know that what I saw applied to me. I didn't
Yeah.
make that connection. And I was very much in denial, so I kept trying to avoid that subject in my head. So
And
about
then-
when I was like came out of the closet then.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then something that'll make the older trans people on the panel want to hit me with a shoe is that like I had my revelation at like 22, and I thought I was too old to get
off.
treatment.
Fuck off.
No, I wouldn't even think about doing that because I didn't transition until 27.
Yeah.
Or I started my heavy investigations just before 26, but
Yeah.
it
But you
wasn't
got to
until
understand that
then.
like that there's like deliberate propaganda about
Mhm.
the age of transition.
Yep.
And they do that on purpose so that fewer people will transition, because it's unacceptable for anybody under 18 to transition. But it's
Although
also acceptable for anybody over the age of 19 to transition. So they basically just nobody can transition.
although there does appear to be a tendency for the younger you transition, the better it is for you in terms of your final outcome.
Yeah.
We certainly know that for sure as far as the kids who get testosterone blockers or estrogen blockers when they're prepubescent and through early puberty and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But even for people whose growth plates have locked in and no longer are going to change their bone structure.
Yeah.
The earlier you do it, the better.
I started testosterone at 24, and I went up a shoe size within a year.
No, you're kidding.
It can't. Like I literally like my feet got bigger, and that's something that they tell you is impossible, but it happened to me. I had
one of the things that I hear trans women say all the time, and I've always discounted it to urban mythology, is that my feet shrank a size. Okay, and I'm going. The bones aren't going to shrink.
Well, no, but your bones don't shrink, but also like the muscle. Like if you have trans women experience a certain amount of like muscle atrophy. A lot of trans women lose a lot of muscle mass, so I could see your feet becoming like slenderer or something like that if you had enough of that atrophy happen. I would say that I've never seen an example of it in the real world, so take that.
I've known some trans women who have claimed that they have lost as much as 2 inches in their height.
I believe that for the same reasons, because that happens to other people. Like a lot of people, as they get older, they shrink.
Yeah, everybody as you get older shrinks.
Yeah,
everyone does.
But I mean,
yeah, I've lost like
I would need like a clinical study, and I just can't imagine
inch.
anybody bothering to spend that much money on us.
I encourage people who who to talk to me, pre-transition and stuff, that before you go on HRT, you get a friend, or a relative or something like that, and you do all the possible measurements of your body you could think of doing, and write them down and put them away, and a year after you've been on HRT, do them again. Okay,
the most common.
And I haven't really heard any results yet because it's just kind of a thing that, for yourself, so you can see that there's progress or change or whatever.
You said to do what now, Jenny? And
take measurements in every way that you possibly can think.
That's a good idea.
Not just if you get into dressmaking and real deep into tailoring and stuff. There's many different measurements that they do on a body other than just waist, bust, hips. Those are the basics. And for men, inseam.
Do around your arms, your thighs, blah blah blah. Yeah.
The distance from the side of your neck to the end of your arm, the distance from your belly button around up your ass, to your anal cleft. there's all kinds of measurements. You know, the circumference around your shoulder area, then further down at your elbow, your wrist, you know, and all that. So there's a lot more that you can measure than just the three basics. Because I was just curious as to what kind of results they would have. So, but I haven't gotten anybody to report back.
The only measurement that I hear about the most is seems to be fairly universal, but it's the more personal. I see people. Okay, and then this is one of those things where it's like this is personal information that people are willing to share that I would never be willing to share. Like people have asked me how I've done in the bottom growth department, and I'm like, I can't. But no, I see trans women posting, you know, I lost this many inches, and I'm like, oh, I'm glad you're happy about that. But
Oh, those inches. Yeah, it shrinks like a motherfucker. Oh, well, actually, like a no, never again, motherfucker. Yeah, that definitely happens.
Yeah.
So
I
I
was
this real quick.
I was very poorly
finish your
endowed.
thought, Jenny.
I was very poorly endowed to begin with, so it really didn't matter much.
Yeah.
Micro comes into the description. So
actually, Ox, I will tell you that yes, your muscle, you can build if you're on testosterone, you build muscle faster, opposite for estrogen. And your fat does change. For instance, I used to be, I'll show how fat I am. So I used to have big love handles, and they're just pretty much gone. They're like this big now, but I have this, it all moved forward. Now I got a dad gut.
Yep.
So yeah.
Fat redistribution.
It does, your fat will what's the word I'm looking for?
Redistribute.
Thank you. Redistribute.
That's what I said.
See, same thing, Larry. Yep. It all goes right to your front. And my brother said that to me. He goes, you know what's going to happen, right? I said, what's that? He goes, because I said, man, I got to get rid of this fat. I hate this fat on the side, you know, my sides. And he said, well, you know what's going to happen? I said, no. He said, it's all going to go to your front. And I swear to God, 2 months later, I looked down and I was like, what the fuck? He was not kidding. Now, when I sit down, I still got the little love handles on the side, but they used to be pretty, like a handful, you know, love handles. And now it's all up out front. So I'm like having to figure out where I'm going to wear my jeans comfortably now, you know?
Oh, wow.
One of the difficult parts as an obese trans woman is we don't see any of that fat distribution going on. It probably is, but you're so fat you can't tell. And so it's
So I still have
this very dysphoric thing for me.
I'm 2 years into this and I still have like a prodigious ass. And that's again just because I was so overweight to start with. I'm losing a lot of weight though. I've lost about 30 pounds this year. And I have noticed it coming off of like the sides more than it's coming off of the front. But also just Ox, T doesn't work like that. Especially for cis guys. So
what did Ox say?
Hey, Ox, his comment at the bottom of the chat, it's as big as a horse and still growing. No. The upper limits for like trans guys, as far as like people that I actually have talked to and believe them that they're, you know, what they're telling me, is like 2.5 inches is like the upper limit of what you can naturally grow by yourself. And then after that, you have to get surgery.
If they do the surgery, release it, you can get up to like 3.5, 4 inches, is what my son told me through his research. Because he researched it way before I did.
Yeah, but that's also quite rare. To get that kind of size naturally is quite rare. Most commonly, it's less than an inch.
Yeah. You know, honestly, I don't have much change. I mean, a little bit, but not really.
That's okay.
Which I'm okay with because I don't want
gay sex ed. This is what I want my future career to be, is gay sex ed.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Hey, I'm a trans person and I'm learning stuff here.
But also, if you are a cis guy and you take too much testosterone, your body will eventually start converting it, and it will not do good for you.
I am amazed at the variety of results trans women have. It's not uncommon for a trans woman to end up being a large A cup or a B cup, sometimes a C. But every once in a while, you run into a trans woman who just explodes to like a double D or bigger, and it's like, damn, in a year or two, and that's
well,
what
they had it in their
holy
genes.
fuck.
That's the whole
sure,
thing. It's just
sure.
like look at me and my sisters, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've always been a smaller B. It's just where I've always been. I gained weight and I went into like a medium B. And when I lose weight, I go down to almost like I'm a very low B, almost the extent of an A cup. But my sister Wendy is like 36, 38, I think, somewhere in there. You know what I mean? Like, or how do they do that with the cup size? Not 36. D, C, C. She's like a big C, maybe a D, right? My other sister was a C, a smaller C. And I said to my mom at some point, I said, you didn't distribute properly. And she was like, what do you mean? And I said, well, look, Wendy, Susan, me. And then I got a couple years older and I was like, oh, thank God for that shit.
Yeah.
Thank God for not getting the mom genes. Now her genes actually kind of skipped a generation because nobody in my family is large breasted for siblings and stuff, right? Yeah. But my son, when he first got his first surgery, he was like, I don't know, they weighed 15 and 16 pounds. I think he was like a E or G, double G. I think it was a double G or something like that. And he weighed them on a scale and they were 15 and 16 fucking pounds. It's like two small dogs. Fucking time, but they're not barking. Yeah, so then he had his first surgery done and he's down to a C cup is the smallest they would go because anything else is considered gender reassignment surgery. So now he has to go in and have a second surgery done because when he had the first one done, he wasn't transitioning yet. And then he had that first one done and he's like, oh my God, I feel so much better about myself right now. And said, that's it.
Trans women are usually told, as far as breast growth, because everybody asks, how big can I get and stuff, is that you'll probably be pretty much like any of your sisters or your mom. And it works out. I'm like a B. I'm like a B cup, and my mom was, or at least that's what I read in her bras when I was trying them on and stuff.
I love you, Jenny.
Yeah.
Oh gosh,
that's so funny though, because of like the symmetry, the like reverse symmetry we've got. Because like the first time my mom bought a bra for me and made me wear it was like the worst day of my life.
Oh yeah, like 6-month-old babies, Tubi, and 2 6-month-old babies. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I was absolutely humiliated when I was entering like junior high school and high school gym class. And they required you to get a cup.
Yeah.
That it was like, it was just horrible. I never wore it. Never.
Yeah. I was always super pissed off about how our gym uniforms, because the boys were allowed to wear like regular basketball shorts that come to the knee, but the girls had to wear booty shorts. And I'm like, I'm 12. Why are you making me wear these?
It's like look at the typical uniform you see in women's volleyball in high school. They're all this little tiny, very tight short. Yeah, and it's like how can you make them do that?
Their knee pads are bigger than their shorts, literally.
Yeah. I think they're called boy shorts now.
Yeah.
That style.
Boy shorts or underwear.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was the only way that I could get away with wearing like underwear that didn't make me feel weird, was getting boy shorts and getting like gray ones so they look kind of like boxers.
Wearing short pants as a woman is a very different thing, because typically as a guy, any kind of time I wore a short, it was like at your knee or maybe just above your kneecap. And of course, women significantly shorter, and for me to even have something that's halfway up my thigh, I feel naked.
Yeah.
You were on
and
you're not
now
alone.
I just don't wear shorts because I'm almost 70 years old, and you really don't want to look at that.
Oh,
When I was semi-transitioning, kind of in college, I had those feelings too, where I'd wear like the really short shorts, and I felt completely naked because I was used to wearing like the freaking down to the knee loose shorts. So
yeah.
it was, I know the feeling.
I got into wearing cargo shorts right
Ox.
after I started
I'm laughing at Ox. Okay, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
okay. No, you're fine. I got into wearing cargo shorts right after I started transitioning. I go to like Burlington Warehouse and find them, and it like actually goes down past the knee and has millions of pockets. And I'm like, yes, this is the piece of clothing for me. I will never wear anything else.
It took
And
me
my
a long
socks with sandals with the
it took
cargo shorts.
it took me a long time to realize when I would, after I transitioned and stuff, and summertime comes around, and you see women wearing two pieces, bathing suits, and really super skimpy bikinis and stuff like that. And I used to have this 1950s mental image and stuff, and morality play in my head going on that this is kind of like revolting, this is kind of disgusting, honey, shouldn't you cover up more? And it took me a long time to realize that the only reason I was thinking that was because I was jealous, that I was fat and I'm never going to wear a bikini, but I wish I could. It just took a while for me to realize that it's not morality, it's jealousy.
I want to show you
I
this
had those years
that
too when I was
I'm gonna buy. Can I screen share?
no.
Please.
Sure, go ahead.
Even if I can figure out how to. Okay,
Yeah.
share
Yeah, and
screen.
the same thing while he's doing that with the first time I wore a short skirt, that was a very interesting feeling.
I'll bet. I've never owned a short skirt.
I when I was younger, like pre-college and college, I was 5'8", 5'9",
I
and about
can't see. Is it
160.
showing it?
So I essentially had the body for it. So I rocked it while I could. But
Oh heck,
wearing a short skirt in public,
what the hell is that?
It's a surf suit.
Oh,
So this is my solution because part one, I'm trans and I'm afraid of getting harassed, and part two, I'm a fat guy and I don't want to let it all hang out. I'm gonna get this surf suit for swim season because I
sure.
really like to
I
swim.
think that's
and
great.
I want to be able to go out in public.
Yeah, no,
Um,
that's great. Good for you.
can I
okay,
can
how
I
do
see
I?
that second picture? Can you click on that
Oh,
with
second
the
picture.
person?
Yeah,
And that's cut for men or women, isn't it?
yeah, it's unisex, and it goes up to a 4X.
I just wanted to see what it looked like filled out.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what
Yeah,
I'm gonna
on
get so that I
somebody.
can
Yeah.
actually go
On
to.
somebody.
There's a community pool in this new apartment complex that I live in. So I didn't.
No, I've mentioned I've never had a short skirt. I never thought I was attractive enough to wear a real short skirt. I just didn't think it was when I was younger. I had a professional level job and this kind of stuff, and that just, I wasn't in high school anymore, and so I just never bought any or wore any.
Yeah.
It was
I had
all
my
business length,
Yeah.
kind of knee at the knee, just above the knee. And now today, my preference is ankle length bohemian stuff.
I had my college days where I was experimenting for a while. So yeah, I've worn the short shorts, the short schoolgirl skirts. I've worn the denim mini skirts out to clubs.
Mhm.
I've done that whole thing.
I
So
never wore
there's
skirts
a
at
few
all.
pictures floating around too, but I'm not gonna show you.
Um, the only time I ever wore skirts or dresses is going to church, and even that I put up a pretty aggressive fight over it. Until my parents just gave up. But like I was never comfortable having short clothing on my legs. And part of it was because I was raised by conservatives, and part of it was because I was also very overweight as a child and internalized a lot of bad stuff about my body image and that kind of stuff. But it really did just
Blame all
boil
that
down
on your
to
mom.
feeling super vulnerable with having that much skin exposed, and I could never get over that feeling.
When I was in high school, part of my plan to prove that I was a boy was to get involved with sports. I didn't succeed, and my brother was a year and a half ahead of me, so I decided to follow in his footsteps, and I joined the swim team.
Yeah.
And I never thought about it until suddenly I have to take off my top. What, in front of all these people?
Yeah.
So it was a few years of absolute humiliation.
Yeah.
But I did win. I did earn my letter.
I hated swim class in school. When I went to North Central, they had like the year before I went there, they had this huge natatorium built. Some parent had paid like $1.5 million to have it all installed, and so they made it a mandatory part of the curriculum to do 6 weeks of swim class. And locker rooms have always been bad for me. Partly because of the aforementioned, I'm fat and I'm not comfortable with people seeing my body, but also because of the whole like other people in that locker room not feeling the same way that I feel and having absolutely no problem being like completely buck ass naked. And I'm like, I don't want.
That sounds like my military career, my early military career.
This thing that like comes up a lot with like the bathroom debate about it somehow being more acceptable to have people see you naked if those people have the same genitals as you. That is something I have never identified with. I don't want anybody to see me naked at any time. I don't want to see anybody else naked at any time. Can we just not be naked? Can we have like individual cubicles so that I never have to? No.
Kate, let me ask you a question. Did you find the boys in the locker room to generally be rather exhibitionist?
Hell yeah, all the damn time. It didn't. Okay, in the military, it didn't matter if it was in the locker room, in the bathroom, or anywhere. There've been like almost literal parades down the middle of the freaking like the dormitory, like Dicks on Parade kind of thing.
But why?
No shame, none, zero.
I don't get that.
It's what guys are into,
Apparently. And thinking back on it, it took me like a few years ago. I was thinking about this, but I didn't realize it at the time. I am almost positive 3/4 of the people in my military, like my training and different things like that, were gay.
Well,
and it didn't dawn on me that the behavior, because I had a different mentality back then.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't pick up on the clues and anything like that. But every time I think back at it, I'm like, yeah, that person was gay. That one was gay. That one was gay. That one's probably trans. So,
interesting.
Because hell, I joined the military to quote unquote be a man.
Yeah.
That didn't work out.
A lot of people join the military to escape from things. So like, everybody around here that I grew up with, like half the guys I went to school with joined the military to escape poverty or their families or like, some other thing. Like I've known people that joined the military because they were in relationships that they didn't know how to get out of. Like lots of people are running from stuff when they join the military or like Greenpeace or those kinds of things.
It would going back to the early days. I was involved in let's say consumer education of cis people who had no clue about transgender and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that you always heard people say is that, I once knew this trans person and stuff like that, and I just couldn't understand how they could be trans and want to wear a dress and stuff. He used to be such a macho guy with a beard and all this. It's like, well, there's this thing called denial.
It ain't just the river in Egypt.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Damn it!
I had a hardcore denial phase for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Those were my asshole years.
You do all these things to try to prove that you're not what you know you are inside.
Yeah.
Because it's so humiliating, and stuff to be trans. It's just, you're horrible if you are.
Yeah.
It's so funny to me when people say it's a choice. I'm like, you're right. I want like most of the world to hate me and to fear being out myself after dark and scared of going in bathrooms. And I'm afraid if I go walk into the gym bathroom, I still haven't been in the gym bathroom in the guy's side. But, well, I haven't been back there since I've had facial hair. Everybody had masks, so I got away with it back then. It's true.
Yeah.
So now there's no masks anymore. So I can't sneak in the ladies' room. And so I would have to go into the men's room. So I just love the idea of walking into a gym full of pumped up fucking testosterone filled men who might have an attitude with me.
Yeah.
And if I go in there and someone catches me and decides to beat, there's not what the fuck am I? I mean, I could defend myself, but you know, I'm a pretty good fighter, but if he's big enough, he's going to fucking clobber me.
Yeah.
So that's what scares me about it. I went into a men's restroom for the first time last week. I was at the grocery store. And I was like, fuck, I got to piss. And I walked and the door was locked. So I walked up to one of the ladies and I said, can you unlock the restroom for me? She didn't speak very much Spanish. She was like, 1 second. And I was like, okay. So she walks over there and some guy comes out from the hallway and he's like, I got you, man. And I was like, oh, thanks, bro. And he just unlocked the men's room. Didn't even hesitate.
Yeah.
And so I was like, cool. I guess I'm going in there this time.
Yeah.
I can't avoid it anymore. So I went in there and some guy came in the middle of it and he was pissing at the urinal. And he's over there going, ugh, ugh. And I was like, you should go see a doctor, but I didn't say anything. And I went in the stall and, you know, I heard him come in and I grunted a little bit like I was taking a shit. And luckily I farted and then I just came back out of the stall and washed my hands and left. But he was still standing there leaning on the urinal going, ugh, either that or he has a kidney stone, one of the two.
Yeah. No kidding. No, I started using men's rooms.
That was my first experience.
I started using men's rooms in public full time after I got kicked out of a women's room. I had like I have like all my usual haunts. I have like 4 stores that I shop at exclusively and I don't go anywhere else because they have gender neutral bathrooms.
Not great. There's a lot of places here
that
do.
I was in this like hole in the wall shop in Broad Ripple and they only had, you know, the 2 bathrooms. And so I wasn't feeling confident in myself yet. So I went and I tried to use the women's room and this lady came in after me. And like when she saw me, she like sprinted right back out. And I was like, okay, that's weird. Maybe she forgot something or, you know, whatever.
No, she ran to tell somebody.
I was in there and I was done and I was washing my hands and the manager of the store came in. I was like, sir, you need to leave. Like, and it was a very confusing moment in time because 1, I'm terrified. Like, are you going to call the police on me or something?
I would have said, I was wondering why there wasn't any urinals in here. That's what I would have said. And I just would have walked out.
No, but no, I like went and I left and I like left the actual store itself and I never went back.
Yeah.
But no,
that's kind of embarrassing, yeah.
But like the whole like the wariness of bathrooms is not an irrational fear because like I've been out full time for a long time and I had never had any issues until I was in an AMC last year. And some guy came up to me, whipped out his dick, and started talking about, you know, you got to have one of these to be in here. And I'm like,
what?
Yeah.
He whipped his dick out and said that?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Guys are so fucking weird.
Yeah. And so, like, you know, nothing bad happened to me because, well, I mean, besides that was bad, but like I didn't get hurt or anything. But that situation could have easily escalated into a physical fight.
Absolutely.
And unlike B, I am not equipped to kick anybody's ass. I am a marshmallow, and I will cry. Anyway.
I want to comment on that, Dr. Cross, because when I was in the Army, we went to some place for some kind of training. I don't remember what it was, but it doesn't matter. And they had an open bathroom.
No.
They had one big shower, and then they had a room like you had to walk. You walked in this way, and there were sinks, right? 2 sets of sinks mirrors, and then you walk past that, and there's just a line of fucking toilets back to back.
Is this like
6
a
of them.
brainwashing tactic?
I don't fucking know, but this is what they gave us. And then you walk to the left, and there's a huge shower room. And all of us, none of us were in like basic training anymore. We're all like, fuck. So I got up one night in the middle of the night to take a shit, because that's what I would do. I'd go in the middle of the night and shit. I'd hold it as long as I could until everybody was asleep. And I go in there, and there's half the lights are off, and there's somebody in there with a sheet over top of them with a flashlight and a book. And I was like, I thought about it for a second. I said,
oh no.
And my sergeant, my staff sergeant right above me was Susie Lang. And I go, Susie, is that you? And she goes, shh, I don't want anybody to see me taking a shit. And I said, I'll act like you're not here. But I thought, how brilliant. Yeah. So I started pulling the sheet off my bed and going in there and covering myself so I could take a shit in peace during the day. That's what we did.
We go camping.
We either do it first thing in the morning or late at night.
I have to go pee. I'll be right back.
All right.
We go camping down in Brown County every once in a while, and we had a little campsite up on the hill right up against the parks. And I would literally, the times that we went with my mother-in-law, she just brought a tidy cat bucket. Like, one of those big ass cat litter buckets that's got the fold up top. She would bring that out, and she'd put something heavy like a rock in the bottom of it, and she'd just sit on that like a toilet right there in the middle of the fucking campsite. And I'm like walking 2 miles down the trail to find a spot to take a shit, because I will not have my mom watch me go to the bathroom.
Yeah, no, not when you're an adult. No. It's pretty much not okay after like 10. Once you're really capable of cleaning yourself, it's not okay anymore. So, yeah, no, I mean, I've seen people do crazy shit like that. Female truck drivers, some of them will piss and shit in a bucket in the back.
No.
Yeah, they literally do that.
No.
And I'm like, no, there shall be no piss in my truck. There will be no shit in my truck.
How could you? Okay, so the cabs of those trucks get hot.
Well, you have AC. That's not the point.
I know,
they
but
have lids on them. But the point is she has to open that lid in that little space where you sleep and eat. I mean, I don't have much space here, but I have way more space than that.
No.
You literally have a 3.5 foot by like 2 foot space back there to walk in, and they have buckets back there, and they fucking piss and shit in them and just clean it out whenever they feel like it.
See, that's why I couldn't be a trucker.
That's what they make stops for.
I have to go to the
shoulders of the road.
Yeah, no. I couldn't be a trucker because I literally have to go to the bathroom every 45 minutes on the dot.
Oh, I can hold my pee for hours.
I would never.
I can hold my pee for. All I have to do is slow down on my intake of drink. How much I'm drinking, and I can hold my pee for like 6 or 8 hours easy.
I have all this scar tissue in my lower abdomen.
Oh,
so
yeah.
When I start feeling like I have to pee, I have to go then. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to get new underwear.
Yeah, no, that's not good.
Same here.
Yeah,
that never used to be.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting tidbit for the chat. You may not be aware. In fact, you two guys might not be aware either. There are little apps that you can get for your phone that will give you a listing of all the gender-neutral toilets wherever you are in the country.
Oh,
really?
Yes.
That is pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
Speaking of which,
I usually go into the mom and pop bathrooms if I don't feel right, and there's one. The baby changing bathroom. I'll use the family one. I mean,
well, these things are put together by the users. You send in, a report of a place that you know of. Like I did for here, one of the gas stations or both gas stations have completely gender neutral bathrooms, and so I shared that with them.
Cool,
because they didn't know it till that. So that's I think a really great idea.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. That's great. Yes, Dr. Cross, cis hetero men can be so embarrassing. I know some very polite, kind. I know a lot of polite, kind men that would never, ever fucking dream of doing that. But those shitty, fucking redneck, ignorant ass bastards, they don't give a fuck. They were raised that their dick is God's gift to the world because they can make babies with it and fuck women. And that's how they think. And then that's it. So
they can't make babies. They can only plant the seed.
well, you know what I mean. I can make babies. You can't make babies without me. Yeah, I can, motherfucker. Plenty of dudes coming in a cup. We don't need your ass.
Didn't they do an experiment like some years ago where they took a bone marrow cell out of a woman and successfully fertilized another, like an ovum with it?
Really?
Like we could literally probably continue the human race without cis males.
Oh, good. Let's get rid of
I
all.
believe it's theoretically possible. I haven't heard of somebody actually doing that as an experiment. I don't think it would be considered ethical.
I saw an article about, and I saw the article like years ago, so I may have like misremembered half of it, but I thought for sure that they had done an experiment, like a practical experiment, but then destroyed the fertilized egg afterwards, or something like that.
Yeah,
But
so
probably not in
even
America,
that would,
because in America that doesn't fly.
even that to some people would be murder.
Yeah. I disagree with that. I don't think.
What the hell is that, Ox?
Is that like a number to call the space station or what?
I don't know what that is, bro.
Let me see. Let me see.
It says, "Who's your daddy?" And then it says number 559-343-300-535-757.922224.5.
That's the serial number of the sample used to fertilize.
Oh. Ew.
Oh. There you go.
Who's your daddy? Sample number 55934, etc., etc., etc.
You know what?
Oh, I thought you were saying HOOSIER.
I get it now.
Hoosier?
Yeah.
Like
Hoosier.
Indiana? Like,
Who's your daddy?
like that place
No,
that I'm in right now.
Your daddy.
Oh, sorry. That's how those of us who aren't in Indiana joke about you guys. Who's your daddy?
Shit, Jenny.
Look, the thing about that is I also hate this state, so shut up.
Oh, God.
Told you, Larry, you guys need to move over here. Telling you, man.
Look, I need money, and I also like Justin doesn't want to move because he's got roots here, and like I respect that, and blah 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 blah. I'm gonna be miserable here forever.
Eventually, they do have things like airplanes and FaceTime to visit with people.
Yeah. I don't want to be the bad guy in that conversation, and I would be.
I would just love for you both to live somewhere where you won't be judged.
I mean, honestly, considering like this entire half of the United States, Indianapolis isn't the worst place that there is. It's just that like everything's expensive in the city. I could tolerate the bigotry if it wasn't so expensive.
Right. Yeah. No, that's everywhere though. All the big cities are expensive right now.
But nah. It'll be okay.
Okay.
The governor's wife came to our catering service the other day.
Really?
Yeah. Governor, what's his face? I live here and I don't even know.
How about the governor's wife?
Oh yeah, Eric Holcomb. Yeah, so
Mrs. Holcomb.
Janet Holcomb came to our catering service like last Wednesday or something, and everybody in the building was freaking the fuck out. And they prepared we have like tiers of menus that we do. So we have like Taco Tuesday with the coworkers, and then we have like foie gras and the expensive wine package,
Yeah, for the riches. Yeah.
So the kitchen like busted out all the gourmet shit, and she was there for like a couple of hours. I wonder if they're contracting us for some kind of event.
They are. Yep. There's an event coming up.
But there was like Secret Service and shit.
Well, how far do you guys usually plan? A month, 2 months?
It depends on what kind of event, and
because it might be a big 4th of July thing.
Oh God, I hope not.
I bet you it is.
Yeah, but then that means that I'm gonna have to like go out to like Victory Field or wherever. I don't know. But
well, it's hard to tell
for most events. So like for weddings, people plan like years out. like we have weddings already contracted for like 2025.
Right.
But for like corporate events and stuff like that, it's usually a couple of months. But I don't know if, since it's the governor's office, if they like take priority or whatever. I'm not sure how they handle that kind of stuff.
Damn Secret Service always messing up a clean shot.
Oh god.
Look, there's like 12 people, and Ox is the only one talking.
Look, if I'm holding a drink tray and somebody starts shooting, look, that's a bad day for me. But I'm not actually. I don't actually serve. I never serve at events. I do not interact with the people ever. And for that,
you're the back of the house, right?
I am always back of house. I will wash every fucking dish before I go out into the front of the house.
Yeah, I don't want to. Speaking of jobs, my boss told me today, because I asked her what kind of a driving schedule I'd be on. Yeah, because my sister's gonna come. So this is how sweet, right? Mm-hmm. My brother-in-law said after my sister's birthday was yesterday, so she just hit 60. So after all the candle, birthday cake and the kids left and all that stuff, he said, I have one more present for you. And she said, what's that? He said, I know everything's really expensive right now. He said, but out of not our savings or anything, out of my part of my money, I want to buy you plane tickets so you can go see your siblings in Santa Fe. Oh, and that's amazing, because he's such normally a dick. I don't know if he's trying to get rid of her for a weekend or what. He's just an asshole. And my sister is like such a sweetheart. Like, she'll do anything for anybody. She's the only religious person I know that supports Trump that is not a hater. Yeah. Literally. She's the only one. And she said, well, she just picked Trump because she thought it would be better financially. She was looking at the financial picture. So, and I can't blame her. I can't blame her for that, because she's, like, the Republicans, they're looking at the financial all the time. So anyways, but that makes me so mad. She's a very, very sweet, kind person. And we were actually talked a little bit of politics yesterday when we were on the phone together. And she said there needs to be term limits, and that's the only way we're going to clean that swamp out. And I was like, you sound like a Democrat. Why are you Republican? Everything she says sounds like she's a fucking Democrat, or actually independent. Because she's like me. She doesn't trust either side. She trusts no one.
It makes me so mad when they spout that thing that you're telling us that your sister just did. There are like 70 years worth of statistics that prove beyond a doubt, way beyond a doubt, that every time there's a Republican administration, the economy goes to fuck. Yeah. Okay. And every time there's a Democrat administration, it gets really good. Yeah. Okay. And how people can think that the opposite is true, I just duh.
Her and her husband got suckered like everybody else that voted for Trump, and then regretted it 2 years later. Because she didn't really say it, but she basically said she regretted it. Yeah.
But this is one of those
things trying to dance around it, but that's what she said.
I love how, well, I hate how this happens, but I also love how this happens, because like a lot of conservative voters, they vote based on the color. They don't know what the platform is. They have no idea what the platform is. They just know that they're the red and the other person is the blue and they're on the red team. Because every time I've talked to one of my family members about universal health care, but not used that buzzword, they've been like, oh, that sounds great. We should hold them accountable. And, we should do this, this, and this. And I'm like, yeah, that's what they want to do for universal health care. Oh, I don't want that Obamacare shit, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, can't help it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no. But yeah, no, I'm so
I know. Yeah, I know.
But
anyways, that should say just. Hellbound Hillbilly said some government events of that sort are contracted on very short notice to increase security. Yeah. And I said, well, it could just be the wife and her friends, the female uppity ups in the town or something, and they won't do it for the wife as much as they would for the mayor himself. She'll get a little protection, but they don't go through all that for wives. Yeah. Not unless you're like the president's wife or vice president's husband or something. Yeah.
We've got an interesting campaign going on here right now for the primaries. for the Republican primaries for a congressional seat. Our congressman who's been there for like 24 years is retiring. And so the seat's wide open, and the Republicans really, really wanted, even though this region has traditionally been very blue in the state of Wisconsin, it's one of the only rural and northern parts of Wisconsin that has consistently been blue. So they want to destroy it. But the two Republicans are basically campaigning on, I am meaner than you are.
You love to see it.
Yeah, it's like, what? Oh, well, I've done this, and it's all these shitty things that hurt people, and I believe in this, that's, well, people die when you do that, well, I don't care. It saves money. Yeah, they're basically waving their dicks at each other saying, I'm meaner than you are. It's bizarre.
Did you see what I taught my kitty, Larry?
What?
He's very gentle now, and even if he has claws out, he touches my face very gently now. I taught him.
Oh.
I taught him last month to be gentle. It took like 5 days. Good. Yeah, he's very smart. Aren't you, boy?
Orange tabbies are usually big fluff balls.
Yeah, he's a big baby, but he kept clawing my face, like really trying to. Yeah. He was trying to pet me too hard with his claws out.
Yeah.
So I showed him, like, I just took his paw and I went, no, gentle. And he got rough and I was like, no. And I did that at like, I don't know, 15, 20 times over like a week period or 2 week period. And now he's gentle with me.
I want to get an otter. I want to live with an otter.
Can you legally own otters here?
I doubt it.
If you have the right environment, probably. I bet you could if you had the right environment, but it would have to be like inspected and regulated, and they'd have to have outdoor space and a big thing of water. And it could.
You'd have to like legally classify yourself as a sanctuary or something.
Yeah, that's literally what you'd have to do. Now, if
there's criteria for facilities and that sort of thing.
Yeah, stuff like otters and stuff that aren't as hard to own. They're a little more flexible on because they're not really dangerous. If your otter gets loose, it's just going to go to the closest water and take off. Like, that's what's going to happen. If a tiger gets loose, it kills people and animals. So they're more regulated. But stuff like otters and let's just say non-predator species, they are, and that aren't like endangered, they're more flexible.
You can own tigers here.
Sure.
You can own tigers, you can own zebras, you can own certain kinds of like macaques and like other kinds of monkeys, but you cannot own reticulated pythons anymore. They banned the breeding and sale of them here.
Is that because of the size they get and people like run from them and leave them in apartments?
People were getting them, and I love reticulated pythons. I really wanted to have one, but I couldn't commit to like having an entire room of my house for it because that's what it would require. But reticulated pythons will literally reach 20 feet if you feed them and let them have a large enough enclosure. Okay. And if you have a snake like that and you are not prepared to do what you have to do to contain it properly, then they can kill people.
Yes, they can.
There's actually been cases, and I'm sure more than 5 or 10 or 3 or 5 that I've heard of, 3 to 5 that I've heard of people getting those and sleeping with them and then dying in the middle of the night because they killed their owner.
Yeah. There's this erroneous belief that reptiles can attach to you in the same way that cats or dogs can.
Yeah, no.
Snakes in particular are not capable of that kind of.
There's a reason they call there's a reason they call that most baser portion of our brain the reptilian brain.
So they're not capable of encoding memory in such a way as that they can form an emotional attachment to you. And that's why if you have a snake, especially if a snake that can get to a certain size, you have to understand that it does not love you. It will not recognize you. And if it gets hungry, it will hurt you.
It will eat you.
That's
basically what they said was they thought these cases were because they were feeding them. They were waiting too long to feed them.
Yeah.
And they started getting hungry.
So snakes are opportunistic feeders. And if they are large enough to eat you, then they will try to. I have a ball python. His head is this big, and I will
And he
never
tries
get
to
a
eat your
snake.
finger, doesn't he?
No, I feed with tongs because I'm not an idiot.
Oh,
But no, but his head is this big, and so like he's never actually going to be able to hurt me or like my dog, and I won't get any snakes that are larger than that.
right.
Yeah, but they
Even though-
grow.
he won't. He's as big as he'll ever be.
No, there's some steaks that stay really tiny, Jenny.
Yeah. So he's
Even,
he's like a
even
pet. He's a
python
pet
versions.
breed for a snake. So
Yeah.
he's about 3 feet. His head's about this big, and he won't get any bigger than that.
Yeah.
And
Well,
also,
we have
with most
rattlesnakes around
animals
here, and I
like
know they
that-
only reach a certain size,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Yeah, but there are other snakes like Burmese and reticulated pythons. They get very, very large, and there are people like somebody donated an anaconda to our zoo like 15 years ago because they privately owned it. It's still there.
Yeah, and it was like 18 feet long, and they couldn't handle it anymore. That's what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually used to do plainclothes security at a place in Virginia. It was a pet store. This couple had a daughter that she loves every animal, especially reptiles and stuff. Lizards, like those are her favorites to mess with, but she loves like all animals. So they opened a pet store for her when she was like 15 or 16 years old. And now she's part owner of it because, she's turned into adult years and years ago. But anyway, so they take in pets that are going to be stranded or put in some kind of a shelter situation. And they'll just keep them in the pet store. She has like a horde of them. They'll be like, is that for sale? And she's like, nope, this is home. That one's not going anywhere. It's already been abused. I think that's how she is. She's like that with like lizards. She's really picky about her pets. So they have a python in there that's 18 feet long, and it was someone's pet. And they brought it in and said, please help me. I can't do this. I don't know where to take this pet.
Yeah.
And she said, you give me like $500 to set up a place for it, and I will take it off your hands. And the person paid her. And so it has its own big room. It's got a big like kiddie pool in there, sunk in the ground. It can get in the water. It's got a tree, like most of a tree. It can climb around on and everything. And they only feed it like every couple weeks or something like that, I think. And so one night they were locking up, and Tanya was like, thanks. And she said, I'm going to go feed. I can't remember the name of the snake. I want to say it was like Benny or Bertha or something like that. Anyways, she was like, I'm gonna go feed, what's its face. And I was like, can I watch? And she was like, yeah, I don't care. Do you want to? It's kind of crazy. And she's like, I said, yeah, fuck yeah, I do. So I went in there, and she threw the live chicken in there, and it sat there and waited for the chicken to calm down and never moved. It was totally, absolutely still. It was amazing to watch. And the chicken ran around a little bit, and then it kind of went, okay, I'm not freaked out anymore. And it started like looking at the ground to peck, and it just slowly it was the coolest. And you could see the chicken going down its body as it swallowed it whole. You could see the chicken slowly moving. I said, how long does it take to get down to the stomach? She's like, oh, it'll take like, I don't know, like 45 minutes or something. And I was like, oh, wow. Because it takes a while for them to, their throat's so full, they have to slowly move it. And she's like, yep, but it'll be gone in the morning totally. You'll never know, except she'll have a little chub in her belly for a couple days.
Yeah.
Like, okay. But it was really cool to watch. It was really, it was amazing. But yeah, no, that's why there's so many regulations, because people get these pets. They have no idea. Oh, look, a little baby otter. Oh, now it's big and it's mean and it bites me. Not everything not everything is trainable. Dogs were domesticated through breeding. Cats basically domesticated themselves and just said, fuck that, I'm not living out there anymore. I'm gonna live in here with you fuckers. And we were like, aren't they cute? Okay. So that's what but you can't just go pick up an animal out of the wild because you own a cat or a dog, or my dog's part wolf, I have nature animals, and then you go get an animal out of the wild and it tries to kill you, because you don't do that. Now, I did know a lady that a girl I went to school with, actually, lady now. This girl I went to school with would walk through the woods all the time in the evenings, like right before dinner, after school. And then every weekend she would spend hours walking through, and she would just look for injured animals, and she'd adopt them. And she had her grandmother, she lived with her grandmother. Her grandmother encased her back porch for the animals that shouldn't be inside because they're like stinky or their shit's horrible or whatever. And then the smaller animals that were cute and manageable were all inside the house, and they'd bring them all in the wintertime and stuff. And she had like raccoons and squirrels and a crow, and almost all of them she found when they were babies, though. And she went and took them to the vet, and the grandmother got them fixed and like devenomed and stinky for the the skunks. So it was just stuff like that, but she took really good care of them. And she only had like one incident of being bit, and it was like a squirrel that kind of did it by accident. So
yeah, but if you keep one wild bird, they'll put you in jail.
Now they would. This was in the 80s, like out in the middle of the country.
Oh no, this is back then too. The Migratory Bird Act.
That's what I'm saying though. Like, she lived out in the country, so nobody did anything to her. She saved their lives. So even the local sheriff and stuff that knew about it, nobody bothered her, because she didn't just go capture animals. She would go find injured animals.
If somebody she knew mentioned her to the DNR, they would come after her.
Shut up, Cadence. You're not helping. Yeah, no, you're right. And they would normally, but they didn't in this case. And she had like one crow, and I don't think she had any other nature birds at all.
The Migratory Bird Act drives me absolutely nuts, because they will treat you that harsh. Crows are very commonly kept as pets all over the world, because they're such cooperative species, and they know how to deal with humans and all that kind of good stuff. But here, you're not allowed to have one as a pet, a crow or a raven. However, you can go and hunt them and kill 20 or 30 of them each day.
Yeah, nobody would care, right? Yeah.
Well, and that's also the bag limit and stuff. They just don't fucking care, and you kill as many as you want. But you can't keep one as a pet. Now, that is lunacy. The law is an ass.
That doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. Not at all.
Well, they're probably afraid they're going to breed more. And if you keep them, you could breed them if you wanted to.
According to the Migratory Bird Act, you cannot keep legitimately cannot keep a feather from any species of bird in your possession. That they can throw you in jail for it.
I know a lot of Native people and Native advocates that would be very mad.
They are excluded. The Native Americans are excluded from that. They can even have eagle feathers. But we cannot.
Damn it, Ox. I looked at the chat and I meant to say skunk. And I looked at the chat and saw your name and I said Ox by accident. Don't cry, motherfucker. Well, I know you shower. It's all right. I'm sure you're not stinky. And nobody's trying to remove your stink gland either.
I don't know. I didn't hear half of the conversation. I just heard bird feathers, and that made me think of my brothers and I. We used to go out on the bluff where we lived when I was a preteen, and we would, when the geese were nesting, we'd go out and we'd get all like the pin feathers and stuff when they started molting. Yeah. And we would dip them in bleach, and we made, we would make them into like pens, and we would use them to make like dream catchers and that kind of shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I remember
because I was 10 and I didn't know what cultural appropriation was.
I remember
that's not cultural appropriation.
I remember taking a goose feather when I was a kid, and my parents had those older pens that you could like open it up and pour the ink out, and I literally tried to make an ink pen out of it. It was the hole was too big, but not the point. Like, I know I've played with them too. Yeah.
Well, we made like dip pens.
It was fun to do though.
We would carve a nib out of the end of the feather, and we'd make little dip pens out of them, Harry Potter style.
Nice.
Yeah, that's not cultural appropriation. White people used feathers for pens for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands of years.
Yeah, the dream catcher thing. We used to make the the web knotting dreamcatcher.
Yeah, dream catchers. Yeah, mandalas.
Yeah, kind of.
Mandala.
And then we'd put like beads and stuff in them.
Different kinds. Yeah.
I once made this really cool one that had like an image of like we did the knotting in such a way that it made like the face of a blue jay in the middle of it.
Damn it, Ox.
It was really cool.
Can't take this guy anywhere, man. I tell you what.
Hope you step in it on a moist, foggy day. Wow, that is an insult. I love it when people are creative with their insults. There's too many just boring fuck yous going around.
Yeah, go ahead and like give me some juice and some meat with it.
I didn't catch the last one.
Oh, he said, I leave my stink outside. Hope you step in it on a moist, foggy day where it's still nice and mushy.
Aww.
I love it.
If you shit in your yard, your wife would kick your ass. Don't you lie to me.
Yeah.
Cannot lie to me, bro. Anyways. Oh, we've been on here 2.5 hours. What else on you guys' minds?
It's been a good show.
Me too. Same. Yeah, I'm gonna try to get to bed. I gotta reset my clock. I gotta get to bed soon and try to go to sleep at not 3 a.m. because now I have to be up at 6:20 every morning. So
yeah.
Prismatic Church. You guys get out there and join.
I have to attempt.
Oh yeah, I already did. I already follow them on Twitter
and
Reddit, and I shared it out on Twitter and everything while we were talking about it earlier.
You get an actual certificate in email. Yeah, you do.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. I got something.
Can I become an ordained minister yet?
Yeah, I got something.
They're developing that program. Yes,
that's awesome.
Except it will be called a gender neutral name of priestess.
Okay.
Priest what?
X.
Okay.
Priestex. Oh, okay. Instead of priestess or priest. Priestess.
Right.
Okay.
Nice. I like it. I would totally do that. Just go around fucking marry gay people just to piss everybody off. I'd do it for free. Fuck yeah, I would. Free. Nope. You don't have to pay me. Just feed me at the end of the ceremony. And that's all I want. Free. Why? Because I hate fucking haters and I want everybody to be married and piss them all off.
This is just really weird for me because I have never been excited or even interested in the church. And I just can't wait for this to happen.
Oh, I
remember Eagle, Hawk, Raven,
and church days.
Ox said eagle, hawk, raven, and pheasant feathers are spirit medicine to natives.
Pheasant are not a native species. They were brought in from Japan and China.
Doesn't matter if they still use them. They use them. What's it matter where they came from?
I don't know. I know very, very little about indigenous culture. I will admit, given that I come from a place called Indiana.
Well, you're occupying their land. That's all you need to know, really.
Yeah, you're all their land. That's all you need.
I know. No, Priestex from the planet T. Right.
Oh, I said that. Priestex.
I feel like it would be really, really funny if I became an ordained minister for like an a-religious church. Considering my background,
I think you should. It's going to be a legitimate church, and if you're an ordained person in it, you can do things like marriages and that sort of stuff. Yeah. It's the way the law works.
That's right. It's the same.
It reminds me of so when I you guys already know this, but for anybody in the chat that doesn't know this, my mother-in-law insisted that if we had to have a priest to get married. And that if we didn't have a priest, then she wasn't going to attend the wedding because she's religious and we're not, and she couldn't get over it. And because I am a huge cunt, I decided that the way that I was going to handle that was I was going to enlist the help of a friend, a father of a friend of ours who was a druid priest.
Okay.
And I would love that. I would love to be that for somebody else. Oh, your parents says that you got to have an ordained minister to have your wedding? I'm ordained. Let me get my white collar out.
That's great, man.
I fully intend to apply and to gain that position, and that's exactly what I want to do. is to be there for people to do that.
That might be my ticket out of doing labor for a living, is just be like, hey, if you give me $50, I'll marry you.
Yeah, there you go. Why not?
I don't know. I would have
All
to
right.
have some kind of like greater obligations to offset that if I was asking people for money.
I have to say, this was a really good conversation. We should just keep it to the four of us more often. Anyways, I mean, well, of course, I would always include Ben, so I did not mean to disclude him. So, everybody, I appreciate you guys. Everybody on the panel, thanks for the awesome fucking conversation. It was great. Kate, it's nice to see you again. Ox and everybody in the chat, thank you so much for coming by and hanging out and having a good time and adding to the good conversation. I appreciate you guys and I love you all. So everybody out there, take care of yourselves. Take care of one another.